welcome to the Legit Football NFL podcast. Brian McFadden here, co-founder of Legit Football. We made it through one night, but there are still 2 more days to go. It is Friday, April 28th, and we are smack dab in the middle of the 2023 NFL Draft. We got a special show today. We are live for about the first hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of day 2. We're going to react to picks as they come. We're going to go through the Legit Football grades from all 31 picks from last night, and we're all going to debate how right or wrong those are, and we're happy to hear from you guys as well. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's bring in Anthony, bring in everybody. We don't need individual. We got the biggest crew we've had so far. Of course, my partner in crime, Kevin Phillip Fox, Jimmy Ray from Twitter's NFL Stats, Adrian Rovito, 9 a.m. tomorrow from Australia, and of course, as always, our producer, Anthony Wayner, behind the scenes. Gentlemen, we are live. The draft is happening. The Steelers are on the clock. Are you guys ready for another night of draft mania?
What up, boys?
Absolutely.
I'm ready for another day.
Okay.
I need to know who the Colts pick, Ness, since it's tomorrow for you. I need to let
Break the
Let me know.
space-time continuum. I can't do it, man. I lose my powers.
I get that.
So we got already in the chat, Armand, noted Jets fan. Jonathan, noted Eagles fan. So we'd love to hear from you guys on how you thought round 1 went. We are going to, as I said, break down those picks. And guys, we'll just kind of keep it casual. Anthony, if you want to update the ticker at the bottom in case anybody wants to watch our show instead of ESPN or NFL, and then they want to get the picks from us, that's fine too. Yeah, why would you not? I agree. Some guy in our chat a week ago, Kevin, said we were underrated. So, who are we to disagree?
I didn't know who's rating us. I don't know.
I think Kevin's muted. I can't hear Kevin. Probably should have checked the
same
audio
here.
before we went live. But that's what happens when you have a live show. All right, so
is
guys,
why
what
we're
we're going to
underrated.
do is we're going to go through 1 through 31 from Legit Football's grades. We're going to give our thoughts. Feel free to agree, disagree, give your thoughts. And then as the picks happen, we'll just go round robin, give reactions throughout the second round. Kevin, would you like to test your audio?
Yeah. Check.
Yeah.
What up?
Hey.
Hey, so you guys didn't hear all my
Hey.
banter earlier?
No, redo it real
None
quick.
of it. It was just like
Oh,
facial
man.
gestures.
I'm not gonna lie, it was great banter. It was the best banter that's ever been done on the show. That sucks.
Armand in the chat saying Legit Football perfectly rated. Absolutely love it.
Take
Also a little disappointed for the Jets. Let's, because the Steelers are going to make a pick soon, or they might trade it. There was a lot of chatter about that. So let's go ahead and start breaking down the first round until that pick is made. Bryce Young, quarterback Alabama. Legit Football gave him a B+ this morning. This is the only thing in the draft that everybody knew was going to happen. After that, complete chaos, it seems. Any thoughts here on a B+ for Bryce Young, number 1 overall to the Panthers?
Could have been an A-. I think it's I
mean,
think it's a great pick. Bryce Young was the best quarterback prospect.
What? Yeah.
Yeah,
What would
I
have made
think-
it an A? I don't
Yeah.
really know. I don't think there was another pick. To be
like
made
maybe like 3 inches.
there you go. That was
More
good.
like
That was
maybe
good.
like 15 pounds.
If you want my
that.
honest answer.
So I will say
There's,
this.
there's that banter.
I know,
Thank
right?
you. I told
It
you.
was magical for whatever time he was muted, and we'll just never
really
hear it.
was.
It's lost in the ether forever. I'll say this: David Carr was on. I was watching the Around the NFL podcast. They were live streaming during the first round yesterday. They had David Carr on, former NFL quarterback, brother of Derek, and he works for the NFL media now. He said actually the height is not a concern because a lot of the reasons people think a height is a concern is because they can't see over linemen. He's like I'm like 6'4", I can't see over a 6'6" lineman. That and NFL today, offensive linemen spread out. You see in between them, right? And it's how you can read and react. The weight, that's more of a legitimate concern. If he gets tackled for a 300-pound defensive lineman, what does that do? But he also took a lot of big hits in the SEC. I'm with Kevin. I would actually give it at least an A-. You can
A-.
say the fact that it's an unprecedented size can keep him from a straight A, but I would at least put an A in front of that because he was clear and away the best quarterback prospect,
Correct.
number 1 overall. Hopefully for the Panthers' sake, they've got their quarterback of the future.
Mini Mahomes.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
All right.
What do you give him besides an A? Because they need a quarterback. He was the best available. That's the best pick. If they'd picked
Yeah, it's-
anyone else, they'd be grading poorly.
Well,
Yeah,
let's,
But
let's
the
the
prospect
prospect
has
or grade
to
the
weigh
pick?
into it. The prospect has to weigh into it. I mean, fit, opportunity, value, prospect, like that's all part of the grade, right? Like it's a perfectly baked pie. Can't just
Yeah.
in a vacuum say A, like, just because it's the best player. What if the team need was a punter and they took a punter 101? But it's a great punter. A+.
Yeah,
cool.
I think when I grade something, it's more of like who's available, rather than like necessarily like the fit is obviously in there, but like who else would they pick and like what did they miss out on when they made that pick? So like opportunity cost,
and that's going to come up a couple times on today's show. There is a team who is a favorite team of a certain producer who the opportunity cost was lost for both of their picks, even though the players are good. I want to use this exact thing that Adrian mentioned to go ahead and transition into pick 2, because that was also a quarterback, CJ Stroud from the Houston Texans out of Ohio State, fooled everybody. Right, so Stroud was the number 1 pick, then he was the number 2 pick. Then apparently he can't take a test, and his friends don't go to his birthday parties, and all sorts of mess. And then they're going to trade back, and all of this stuff. Turns out all along they were going to take C.J. Stroud at number 2. The grade we get that my co-founder Joe on Legit Football gave him was A-. Actually gave him a better grade at A- at number 2 than Bryce Young B+ at number 1. Thoughts on that, guys?
Do we think that? I think pick 3. I'm guessing the grade is the entire picks, and pick 3 coming into that as well. I think the Texans did really well.
So he tried to do individual grades. We're just because grade 3 is separate, and that's kind of how I'm viewing it. Let's view them each pick in a vacuum. Now we can include trade compensation, all right, but there's no trade compensation for number 2. They got number 2 because they were second worst team in the NFL last year. So we can talk about the Will Anderson pick a little bit differently, and actually I want to break that down from what it took for the Texans to get there. But just Stroud, we just started. I'm already messing up my words. Stroud A- at number 2 versus Young B+ at number 1. Discuss.
Then I guess for the same reasons, I agree that it'd be in the A. The A area. He's an accurate passer. He's a downfield threat. He's got these skills that'll translate to the NFL. And I think it was 2 weeks ago we were saying Stroud and Bryce Young were consensus 1 or 2, just not sure of the order. So up until the sort of last week before the draft, it was just expected that Stroud was either going 1 or 2. So it's a good pick. I like it for the Texans. And I know we'll talk about 3 separate, but I just like what the Texans did this draft. I'll agree with the A-.
I would personally flip-flop these.
Oh, you do. Same. Exactly. Well, I was going to say in hindsight, McFadden, I should have stuck to my guns with that bet I was going to make with you about all the Stroud stuff being smoke.
Yeah, you would have won. I was ready to bet that Stroud was not going to go this time.
It was so much, and I thought I had this gut feeling like, I don't know, Stroud. And you know what? Yeah, I would flip-flop it as well. B+, given some of the red flags, given some of the things that have come up, given that he's Ohio State, no shade. I think Young for me would be an A-. Stroud for me would be a B+, but they're the first and second best quarterback prospects. They went 1 and 2 to quarterback needed teams. It's perfect in my opinion.
I'd give them both an A-. I think I don't know if Joe likes CJ Stroud more than Bryce Young.
I think he does. He's a little bit more of a pure passer, and he mentions that actually in today's Legit Football, the actual write-up, because there's a little write-up for all of these picks. Stroud has all the makings of a franchise quarterback, best pure passer in the draft. So I think Joe kind of leans on that. Certainly throws a pretty football. We can't deny that. And definitely the most accurate. But there's just something special about Young, which is why I tend to lean a little bit more towards him. Let's go ahead and jump into the Steelers are on the clock for the second round. So as soon as that pick comes in, we'll start giving our thoughts on it. But I want to start talking about number 3, because that's really where the craziness happens. So the Arizona Cardinals, we've been hearing, we're looking to trade out of number 3 for months, right? They finally do. They trade with the Texans, though, who go from 12, after just picking CJ Stroud, they go from 12 to 3, gave up quite a haul. I think it was 4 total draft picks to get what many consider the top defensive, at least cleanest defensive prospect here.
Yeah, go get your guy.
The grade is an A- in Legit Football.
I like the get your guy philosophy, and I say that all the time, and I'm going to stick to it. And the prospect is incredible. But when you're a rebuilding team, you want to add picks, not lose picks. And they gave away a first next year, which really hurts, in my opinion.
And the Texans, unless they think they're going to be a playoff team, that's going to be a very valuable first.
I absolutely love the Texans. I have the biggest offseason crush on them. They're my darlings. But I think they're a 7-win team, not a 10-win team. Yeah. And Anderson helps. Anderson moves the needle. But you don't want to mortgage your future when you're in rebuild mode. So shame on them. They get it 1 demerit, but they also get 2 gold stars for the players they got.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if next year's first round pick was in the top 10, top 15 at least,
And the Cardinals' own pick based on their current roster. I mean, they could be. It's not out of the realm of possibility for them to have 2 top 5 picks here.
Yeah, Cardinals A+++ for all the moves they made. A++++. So
I will say this,
Cardinals.
Adrian, I don't know this for a fact, but I think my co-founder Joe based these grades on the player more so than any compensation. I think when we talked about the Lions a little bit later, I think you'll see that he actually graded him fairly well. So Will Anderson Jr., as a player, A-. Sure, you could even argue that it's an A pick.
Yes.
But I'm with Kevin and Jimmy, I think you agreed too.
Yeah.
That's too much to move up from 12 to 3. This is not a Myles Garrett. This guy is a very, very good defensive end. Apparently he's a great leader. This guy is not who you move up 9 spots and give away future first for, right?
Well, I mean, look, it's fair enough. I think Will Anderson's someone you can build your defense around, but I very much take Kevin's point and didn't really consider the cost of what they're going to be doing next year. I sort of looked at it weirdly from Arizona's perspective, where I think they did great. They, with all their moves, they added a first rounder next year, as we just sort of mentioned, might be in the top 10 or likely. So I still think, I think Will Anderson was consensus 1/2, him and Tyree Wilson. So you can build your defense around him. He is a leader, explosive dude. He's huge. And he really is a clean defender. So I don't know if you don't move up for him. I think if they, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. If you can't tell, I'm battling with myself as I discuss this point out.
The moving up. It's what they paid. They basically said that this guy is going to be better than anybody we see in the top 10 next year without having to give up any additional picks. If they would have just stuck around, are they expecting to compete this year? Where's the self-scouting there, right?
And I wonder if the head coach wasn't D'Amico Ryan, who's a super defensive dude, obviously, whether they would have done this. But maybe he sees something he can build around. Okay,
but I mean, you look at some of the players who went later, maybe guys not quite on Will Anderson's standard, but Nolan Smith went at 30. We're going to get to that. Will McDonald, Lukas Van Ness, these are all people who went after the pick they would have already had, right? And then you still have your first next year. So you can get a solid contributor, maybe not quite on the level of Armand's going to keep us updated. So pick is in. So it looks like the Steelers did not trade that. Quick bets. Do we think it's Joey Porter Jr.? Kept mocking him in the first to the Steelers. Do you think they go
that
with
would be
Porter
awesome. I
here?
hope it is.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I would say him or Brian Branch. Pair him with Mika Fitzpatrick back in the safety. So, but it's kind of hard to pat. I would love to see Porter here for the Steelers. But yeah, so my point is there are other defensive players there. Christian Gonzalez was still on the board.
But they get you guy philosophy, right? If they see something in Will Anderson that they don't see in someone else, you're going to come up and grab him. But I get your point.
Yeah, and a lot of people had him as the best edge the last 2 seasons. So it's hard to, they had him as a higher rated prospect than Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Tyree Wilson. So, it's hard to, it's hard to fault them for what they got. It's easy to fault them for what they gave up and for what position they are in organizationally at the moment. But that being said, I'm still gonna. I mean, it makes it easier for me to love the Texans this year. I mean, the ascendant thing is they're trying to accelerate their rebuild. They're trying to pull a Daboll Giants. They're trying to pull a Campbell Lions. They're trying to be competitive while also rebuilding. Which it's a you got to toe that line. And I think they went a bridge too far with giving up a future first, in my opinion.
And I don't think the compensation is I think it could be a lot depending on how Will Anderson ends up, but I don't think it's crazy for moving up from 12 to 3. I don't think that's too insane.
Is that the pick has been made sound? I don't have a TV up. I'm trying to I'm on Twitter.
I'm watching it over here.
Okay.
I have the TV
yeah, but you're in Australia.
Behind,
is that 20 minutes delayed? All the
Round
way down
7
there?
at this point.
It was Joey Porter Jr. Armand
Jr.
broke the news.
Boom.
There you go.
Yeah, my stream, it looks like it's a little. I've been getting the stream. I'm doing the totally legal stream on my phone, and it was just a little.
You're not supposed
behind.
to actually say that out loud. You're
No,
not supposed to
it's
admit
totally
on
legal.
air.
Yeah, it's
Or
fine.
totally legal. Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Totally legal.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It just sounded too specific. What are you doing? I'm
Alan,
something totally legal.
Watching it on my legal. Yeah.
So, real quick for this one, we don't have to go. I mean, you guys are welcome to put forth strong opinions, but we've been mocking Joey Porter Jr. to them in the first round. So the fact that they get him at
A+.
pick 32 32 technically, but second round. Fantastic pick, no
A+.
brainer. They
Amazing
didn't have to make
value.
any moves. They got the tackle they needed in the first round, and were able to get the defensive back they needed at the start of the second round. Slam dunk pick for the
really savvy move to trade up. Had a lot of respect for that move to trade up. That was a snipe. They absolutely. I think the Patriots did that on purpose to troll the Jets.
Yeah,
and I love it.
Yeah, Chase
Sorry,
Claypool and Joey Porter. I think that's a pretty good deal, honestly.
Yes, Armand, it's okay. You put it in the chat.
Break it, man.
Okay.
Break
yeah,
it. You're our guy, man.
We're multitasking here, man. If you can, whoever wants
be
to put
careful
the
with
picks
the
in,
Colts
put
pick.
the
Though.
picks
Be
in.
careful with the Colts pick.
Jimmy. No, dude.
Hey, no. Apparently, Jim Irsay wants to take Will Levis. So
don't do that. Ignore that tweet. I told him
both.
to delete it. I replied to him. I was like, delete this, bro. It's not.
And we know how much he listens to and respects Jimmy. So from one
right-hand
Jim
man.
to another.
His right hand man.
I assume he's watching this show.
He's coming
right,
up for some wine later.
Speaking of the Colts, let's go ahead and move on to the 4th overall pick. It's not Will Levis. It's Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. The most athletic quarterback prospect in NFL history. If anyone can unlock his immense upside, it is new head coach Shane Steichen. Risky but worth it. That was the write-up in Legit Football. The grade was a B. Jimmy, obviously I want to hear from you first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, as I talked about with grades earlier, a B. I mean, I don't really know what would make
real
it
quick.
an A.
Jonathan says that NFL Draft Center still hasn't announced it. Glad you're here. Get more people here. We will tell you the pick first and discuss it before the Draft Center even comes up. Thanks, Jonathan.
But yeah, as a whole, I feel like he's grading based on how he feels about the player. But the overall, like, who was available, they would have picked, their biggest need. I feel like this was the pick they had to make. And sure, he's definitely somebody who needs to improve on a lot of different things. But I mean, look at him, man. I don't think another pick happened after this pick because I was just watching highlights of him for the next 20-something picks. I mean, come on, it was so much fun. It just got me so excited. That's kind of what I do when Colts pick somebody. So I'm ready for it, and I'm excited to see how he does and how long he takes to be integrated into the team. So
yeah, I'm comfortable giving this an A- as well. I mean, he's such a good prospect, and Shane Steichen knows how to maximize quarterback potential. We've seen it time and time again. So
specifically this type of quarterback.
Yeah,
this is Jalen Hurts, but
better athlete.
10.
I am so excited for the Colts. I think it might be a situation where the first year is like not the best. I think hammer Anthony Richardson in fantasy drafts. I think he's going to be an absolute stud fantasy wise because I think he's going to be taking off a lot. I think he'll rush for 1,000 yards. I really do as a rookie. And then he'll put things together as a passer in due time.
Titans have traded up to 33.
way.
This has to be Levis, right? This has
Dude,
to be a
stop the
quarterback.
slide. # stop the slide, man. Anybody else heartbroken for Will Levis last night?
Cardinals
he didn't turn up.
81.
Kind of
And the
comedic.
Titans-
I did feel bad for him.
I feel
I
he didn't even turn up to the draft today.
Yeah.
They said it just before.
Good for
Oh,
him.
he didn't show up today? Why is
Good
that
for
good for
him.
him? No, if you're there, now why? How is that a good thing? Be a
Oh, man.
He got
stand up, swallow your pride, and go there even though you didn't get picked. This is adversity. This is like, you guys watch draft.
Fine.
This is draft day.
No.
Hold on. When, what's his name? The quarterback, Bo Callahan doesn't get picked first. He runs out the door and his agent has to tell him to come back in. This is
absolutely.
Bo Callahan. This guy reminds me of Bo Callahan.
No, I love adversity, but I also feel like at a certain point in time, look, this man, there was rumors a week ago he was going first overall. And then, okay, well, whatever, he'll be second. Okay, whatever, he'll be fourth. Okay, whatever, he'll be seventh. Okay, whatever, he'll be 12th. At a certain point in time, it's gratuitous. And this poor man, they do not stop the cutaways. And it's part of it. It's part of draft day. It's just part of we all remember Aaron Rodgers with his little soul patch and his oversized mid-2000 suit. We all know, this is just part of the process, but it's also at a certain point, it's all right, he'll go and be the Josh Rosen. There were 32 mistakes made ahead of me, but he can do it how he feels fit because he's probably devastated, honestly.
Okay, but still, hold your chin up high and face the music the next day.
That's
how I feel.
that.
If he really didn't show up, if he's already in Kansas City, he didn't show up in the green room today.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't like that.
I'll be honest with you. I probably would have. probably would have been there. I probably would have been there because it's still your dream coming true. It's just coming true on different terms than you want.
I'm going to show everybody this doesn't faze me. You know, I was expected. Some people were even saying number 1 overall. I didn't get picked in the first 31 picks.
Yeah,
I'm going to show that it doesn't faze me. I'm still going to be here.
Like it phased
I think it's just that. I think
it 100% phased him. We saw it on national television. It was phased.
I think it's just that
5.
I think it's just that mental component. Like I think I love the chin up. I love the adversity. I love the push through it. But
shout out to Armand giving us trade terms.
He's the GOAT. He's
all right. So this is for Tennessee trading up to go to 33 with Arizona. Arizona stacking up those draft picks.
They're doing exactly what they should do. We said this: rebuilding teams should accrue assets, not burn them down.
And they're not moving back that far. So the Titans had 41, so they fell back a spot.
There it is.
Will Levis.
Get it, Will.
My boy.
Wow, that AFC South QB train.
That's does he learn behind Tannehill for a year?
Yeah, probably.
That's a very good question. Yeah,
the quarterback.
That's a very good question. I've seen a lot that Tannehill could be shopped, and that they've even spoke. I think it was Rand Carthon said he spoke to Tannehill about the future and the direction that the franchise wants to go in. There are teams out there who could be interested in Tannehill's services. I would love to see him reunited with Arthur Smith in Atlanta. We can talk a little bit more about that. Armand can just do my job.
Hold on, guys.
I think you made Anthony sad.
we need Jonathan to get a new subscription. This is just not good. That's a bad sign for your provider.
Anthony quits. popping the hey.
Anthony, it's been fun.
I think he's a little sour from his Lions draft. We'll get to that soon enough.
Yeah, we will.
So here's my. Adrian, you want thoughts on Anthony Richardson before I give mine, and then we can.
All I was just gonna say is, we love Anthony Richardson on this show. So I like the pick, and I was talking to Jahmyr just before we jumped in here. Great pick, matches up right with Shane Steichen, as we mentioned. Love it. I'd give it an A- as well.
Yeah,
thanks,
I would.
Am I too nice to people? I think A-.
For now,
maybe
A-.
The top 4 picks.
Say A-. I don't know if you
maybe
give everybody
more critical.
Adrian, if you give everybody for the rest of this draft A-, then yes, I think you're being too nice. But
ain't gone to the Packers. Let me tell you that. Anyway, sorry, we'll get there.
Yeah, so that's true. Anthony Richardson, I think at least an A-, because it's hard to predict whether anybody's going to be a bust. It is. I mean, I think the hit rate for first-round quarterbacks is like 25%. So knowing that going in, why not go for the guy who has the potential to be like a
highest upside,
NFL changing type of quarterback? So I'm 100% behind this. I wasn't mocking them because honestly, Jimmy, I didn't think the Colts would do it. I thought that Irsay would go the Levis route or even the Stroud route, but I 100% love this. What an amazing fit.
I will say I was completely convinced we were going Will Levis with that pick, and then I was at B-Dubs when it was happening. Everyone got quiet, and then just eruption of happiness. So everybody was excited. This is kind of what the fans wanted. So,
did you talk yourself into Levis? I'm curious.
I would talk myself into anybody, but I wasn't quite.
I'm the same way.
I wasn't quite there yet. But
okay.
If we would have picked him, I talked myself into any QB. But at the end of the day, Will Levis was probably my last choice. So.
Yeah, I mean, probably the ideal landing spot. Forget Colts fans. The ideal landing spot for Richardson with a guy like Shane Steichen. Mm-hmm. You mentioned this earlier, Kevin.
It's perfect.
I'll add a little bit more to that before we go on, but obviously, Anthony Ziegler, the Lions are the pick is.
There you go, Armand. Tight end Sam Laporta.
Whoa! It's not Mayer. It's not Michael Mayer
or Luke Musgrave. He was
Brian, we can't go easy on him. I know we love our Lions and I know we love our Anthony, but Brian, you and me both.
What's going on? I'll say this: I'm actually a big Sam Laporta fan. If there's anybody in my fantasy league watching, they're gonna know that he's on my radar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, Michael Mayer.
Anthony has words. Words. Let's hear from Anthony first.
I want to say why not Mayer, but remember where Hawkinson is from, and look how that worked out. There's something in the Iowa style of offense, I think, that Detroit
that worked out. They traded him away.
And
how did that work out? He's doing great for the Minnesota Vikings.
He's a good prospect.
Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell stepped in and they were changing things around. And I just think that I think he fits the offense that they're trying to go for, where Michael Mayer may not. I mean,
Raiders have traded up.
Sorry. Wow.
I personally
it's going hot and heavy now.
Yeah, you guys, this is intense.
This has got to be one of the best drafts ever.
Absolutely.
That was fantastic. Anthony, get your before the Raiders pick. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I like Michael Mayer. I watched him play at Notre Dame, and
stud.
His athleticism is fantastic, but I think that that's not what they're going for. They're not looking for a pass-catching tight end. I think they're looking for a blocking tight end, and I think that he is better as that position because we're going to be utilizing our receivers and our running backs, who we just drafted a brand new running back. So, are we trying to spread out the offense, or are we trying to make room for the running back? And I think that this is a better pick to increase the run game versus trying to find a pass-catching tight end. So, do I like the pick? No, because I like Mayer, but I am okay with the pick. I think that it's going to be all right.
I agree with that.
I put this in the chat real quick. We can keep talking about this pick. I want everybody in the chat and us to make predictions once picks are in. So the Raiders just traded up with the Colts. So Jimmy, feel free to give your thoughts on the Colts trading out of that pick.
Yeah, I think we got a fourth. So to move down 3 spots.
Can I predict?
Nice. Yes.
Hendon Hooker.
That's what I was gonna say.
Calling my shot.
Yeah.
Why do you
Hendon Hooker?
Okay.
Why do you trade up
agree
here?
with you there. I might.
Branch is the pick or Branch is your prediction, Armand?
Armand, break it, man.
Armand says Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama.
I'll say this. Opportunity cost is where the Lions draft falls apart for me. I'm not at all mad at any of the players. I think all their prospects are fantastic. Gibbs, Brian remembers. Brian and I had a little discourse
Kevin,
about whether or not.
I actually want to get into this, but I want to save it until we get to.
Got it. That's fair.
Number 12, because we can talk about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I got my thoughts. Obviously, you already know.
I'll see you back at 12.
Nailed it, Anthony.
Sounds good.
Bye, Anthony.
Yeah. So real quick, Anthony, just want to put a bow on it. Anthony Rich, a great landing spot.
Yeah.
Steichen has worked with Herbert. Steichen has worked with Hurts. Hurts is almost like a great blueprint for what they can do there. You've got Jonathan Taylor. You got what has been a good offensive line that had an off year. You got Michael Pittman. You got a strong defense. Love it. I'm all over Anthony Richardson. All right, we'll start the conversation. Colts get 38 and 141 from Raiders for 35. Yeah,
solid.
Free pick to trade back 3 spots.
Solid.
Another surprise. There was a ton of surprises last night. Devon Witherspoon is the pick at 5 for the Seattle Seahawks to pair opposite Tariq Woolen. A lot of people's top cornerback. He was my top cornerback personally. He was mocked up and down going to Anthony's Detroit Lions at 6. Instead, Adrian, the Seahawks take him at 5. Grade we gave him was it's Adrian's favorite grade. A- in legit football.
Everyone gets an A-. No, look, they feel a need. He was I thought he was top cornerback. As well. Dude, super fast, matches vertical speed. I think it's a good pick. Everyone had Jalen Carter going there. He obviously went a little later. Good pick. I'll stick with. I don't want to keep saying A-. Now I'm
please
super
do it.
conscious about
please. It's a good bit.
A-.
A-.
I'm just going to be
A for Australia minus.
And Adrian.
Look at that. It's
A for Adrian.
It's a match.
But yeah, no, look, good pick. I think, like I said, they feel the need. A good player. I don't think they'll regret it.
No, they pick the best corner available. So I mean,
you can't have a problem with the prospect. You can't really have a problem with the pick. I mean, 5th overall. Yeah, I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not mad at A- for that grade as well. I like sometimes teams do good things. These people they're in these seats calling these shots for a reason, And so far, I mean, I said it to Brian earlier. I was doing the worst draft grades video.
There goes Michael Mayer. Spelled wrong,
nice.
By the way, Anthony. Got to call you out on that before somebody in the chat does. Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame, goes to the Raiders, who just traded away Darren Waller.
That's a great pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish it was Hooker, but that's a great pick. It was going
to fall to them at this. I mean, they got Garoppolo, and maybe they're not sold on it. Takeda, who is a Raiders fan, says he wants Caleb Williams next year, so I guess he's hoping the Raiders are awful because that's the only way you're going to get him.
Not going to happen with Jimmy. He's going to take you to the AFC Championship game. Sorry, buddy.
I mean, just from a value perspective, Kevin, awesome, right? This is a guy, some people are projecting him to go into like top 15.
No, yeah, early second round Michael Mayer and pairing him with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers and Josh Jacobs. if they get an O-line, that team is scary. They should be thinking about O-line, but that team is pretty scary.
And hey, Michael Mayer can help with the running game too. He's a great
100%.
blocker. He's a good true tight end, and I mean, solid pick.
Seems to be the most pro-ready of all the tight ends. Is what a lot of the consensus said.
As a tight end one, as an inline tight end, I agree. Now I'll just finish up saying this: the worst draft grades video had 5 Bs. That's how confident or impressed our legit football's Joe was with the drafter. And who's to say that that's not valid? I mean, like I said, they're in those seats for a reason. And I think, I don't think it's bad to be generous with your draft grades if you like the players and you like the landing spots and all that. Adrian, what's the smile for?
I'm laughing at Takedo.
Okay.
When our Prince not used an abused QB.
That's flagrant. That's a flagrant foul, Takedo.
That wasn't at you, Kevin.
Adrian, I don't know if Takedo has been on since you've started co-hosting with us once a week. He's full of great one-liners. So
I've seen
I don't think I've seen him either. Shout out Takedo.
I thought he was laughing at me because of my positivity. Adrian loves to call out my positivity.
I love your positivity.
So, hey, you're the one giving out A-minuses, bro.
You make me a better person, Kevin. Just to be around you, bro.
Back at you. You complete me.
On the Devon Witherspoon thing, I'm going to take away the minus. I would just give it an A. I think it's fantastic. I think I said in one of the many group chats I was in last night during the draft that I'm a little shamed that I didn't mock them, the Seahawks take. This just seems like a Seahawks pick. Get a stud corner, physical corner on the other side after nailing Tariq Woolen in a late round draft pick. I love it, for a team that made the playoffs and their defense could use some shoring up. This is shoring it up, getting the surefire best cornerback available. So I love the pick for Seattle. I love both Seattle's picks, the draft in general so far for the first round for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I floated corner in my mock, but Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant and all that, I didn't necessarily see them double dipping because they already had somebody who's going to contend for All-Pro for a while, but I ain't mad at it. And I did like the thought of adding Jalen Carter to that defensive line, but corner is a it's one of the premium positions. It's top 3 or 4 positions in the league. So you can never have too many great corners. So yeah, absolutely.
Especially in the modern NFL where passing is just so prevalent. So
pass
you
and
have
stop
to
the
have
pass.
people who can cover these amazing receivers that have come into the league for the last few years.
Yeah, Legion of Boom's coming back.
Definitely.
Pick 6 was the Detroit Lions. I think everybody can agree, I think the Lions were fully expecting to take Devon Witherspoon at 6, and when the Seahawks took them, they were a little bit like, oh crap, what do we do now? So they traded out, and luckily they had the Cardinals wanting to move back up after moving out from 3 to 12, back up to number 6 to get their offensive tackle. We can talk about Paris Johnson Jr. as the pick. Out of Ohio State, we can talk about the compensation. They traded one of their second-round picks to Detroit, which is what Detroit just used on Sam Laporta. We can talk about the Cardinals, the Lions, however you guys want to take this, but the pick is Paris Johnson Jr. for the Cardinals at 6. Apparently, Kyler Murray wanted Paris Johnson specifically.
Yeah.
Rams pick is in. We can keep talking about this until we actually hear the Rams pick. By the way, Hendon Hooker to the Rams is not out
bad.
of the question.
No, it's
not bad.
We're gonna keep doing this. Like I feel like I have Will Levis.
Hendon Hooker to
Same.
them. Hendon Hooker
I
to
kept
them.
thinking
you
Will
get
Levis
a Hendon
last
Hooker,
night.
and you get a Hendon Hooker.
The pick for me is an A because it's who your franchise quarterback wanted, and the Cardinals have been a punching bag.
If your franchise quarterback wants to play Call of Duty, like I don't know that his judgment is the one we should be listening to.
That's what I'm going to address. They've been a punching bag.
This is not a Call of Duty knock.
They've been a punching bag of NFL media this offseason, and it's been fair. Every single shot that we've taken at the Cardinals is fair. Like I have no qualms. But last night, they proved to be finally starting to have some. Steve Avila.
I was waiting for. There we go. I was waiting for. I'm not gonna put Armand, please keep doing it, but I'm gonna let Anthony be the one who puts it on the screen, not to hurt his feelings. So this is
funny.
interesting. A lot of people thought Osiris Torrance, interior offensive lineman from Florida. A lot of first round grades on him would be the first guard taken if you don't count Peter Skoronski as a guard, but instead it's Steve Avila from TCU.
Great prospect. probably could have gotten him in the 40s, but yeah, that's a fine pick. I'm not mad at that. I mean, they have so many holes. I've made my Rams draft need everything, so I'm okay with that. The game starts and ends in the trenches, so.
Yeah, they've had some tough situations with their offensive line ever since Whitworth, like especially
injury history. Yeah. They got the line got mangled last year with injuries, and they're not very good anyway.
Actually, according to NFL's Next Gen Stats, they have a grade, a number that they attach to all draft prospects, and he had an 80. He was actually the top rated guard according to NFL Next Gen Stats. This being Steve Avila.
Oh, that's interesting.
Awesome. 6'3.5", 332 pounds, 33-inch arms, 76 production score, 79 athletic score. The Rams need Jesus. 80 total score.
Falcons are on the clock now.
The bench press.
And he's taken snaps at guard and center, so you can move him around.
At 37, I have Seahawks pick is in. Did they trade it?
Who's got the real intel here?
I know, right?
These guys are coming to us for the truth because the NFL isn't.
Jimmy said, "Yeah, Jimmy said Falcons are on the clock." I don't know,
on the clock. That's what my sources tell me.
The source is behind you in your word.
Oh, so okay, you're just a bit ahead. Okay, yeah. So Seahawks select edge Derek Hall. Wow, that's another one.
Keon White is still on the board.
Keon White, Foskey, dude, what is going on? Hey. If we know one thing,
goes to show you, by the way, media
nothing.
Draft boards, are so different.
We know nothing
than actual team draft boards.
Okay, I mean, I'm not mad. Again, Hall's a fine prospect. Can't be mad at the pick. Do we want to try to get back to the first round? I feel like we've detoured.
We need to keep going. I was about to bring it back.
I'm cool with that.
Any other thoughts on Paris Johnson Jr. to the Cardinals at 6?
So
the fact that they traded up, Lions, by the way, this was a great move, and I said it. Great move by the Lions to pick up a very early second-round pick just to move back 12 spots when their number one player, presumably Witherspoon, was off the board. I
thought they could have got more. I felt like if the Lions GM was Brian McFadden, you would have gotten a 4th as well. I'm just saying. I negotiated with you for 2 hours last week, and I never had any luck like that. I actually liked their compensation. It was an early too. It was that's 34, true. I think. Just to move back 6 spots when the guy you wanted was gone. I don't hate that at all. I actually like the compensation. And Paris Johnson's good, so he is. A lot of people had him rated as their top tackles. So Colts traded down again. Yeah. Wow. Did. Falcons are not on the clock at 38. Colts they traded up with the Colts. Assets. Colts bringing up assets. I love it. Get more pieces around your possibly generational quarterback there.
110 is what they got back for moving down to 44.
All right, let's go ahead and before any picks come in, let's move on to number 7. Little bit of a controversial pick, depending on your thoughts on the traits, guys. I'm sure Kevin may disagree here. Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech, goes to the Raiders. A lot of people, including myself, had them taking a cornerback there. Christian Gonzalez would have been on the board. Yeah. Seemed like a no-brainer. The Raiders had one of the worst secondaries and therefore pass defenses in the entire NFL last year. Instead, they take a very high upside, but maybe boom or bust candidate to go opposite Max Crosby on that defensive front.
Yeah, I reckon this is a bit of a BPA. Like, I don't agree with their pick, but Tyree Wilson is a stud. He's going to be, like you said, opposite Max Crosby. That's a scary pass rush to be up against. So I don't love the pick. I think what did we grade him? B+. Yeah, okay. I'm going to be harsher and say B maybe. But I like the
his first non-A-.
We take it, Raiders. Take it, Vegas. No.
You know we're live, right?
This is a PG-friendly show.
Yeah, I was going to say, take it B? Whoa. Chill, man.
No, I like the player. And, Tyree Wilson, I could have seen him going a lot higher. I want to say a lot. We're at 7. But
same. So I had him at 5, and I like him. Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, I just felt the Raiders had bigger needs at 7, and as cornerback probably would have been the way to go. Even quarterback, because my feelings on Jimmy. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was really weird. We'll get to where he's actually drafted, because if for some reason you haven't seen the first round, then we got a few more picks before we get there.
Tyree Wilson at 7 is an A for me because he's such a stud.
Well, he's a stud with potential. He's not necessarily, his production actually isn't that great.
Oh, Matt Bergeron is gone. Matt.
That's a good. Well, I
That's
love the
good
pick.
pick.
The Falcons, a great offensive line gets better.
I'm so furious. I really wanted him in Buffalo. Syracuse guy. Great pick. So Armand put guard. I think of him as a tackle. Is that?
Yeah, he's listed as
maybe
a tackle, I think.
Armand, check your sources on that. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
O-line, there we go. It encompasses everything. Offensive lineman Matt Bergeron out of Syracuse goes to the Falcons after they traded up with the Colts from 44. So they move up, 6 spots to get another offensive lineman. One of the best surprisingly one of the best offensive lines in the NFL last year. But hey, you can never have too many good offensive linemen. Jimmy knows that from the
absolutely
drop off from the Colts last year.
So Brian, do you want to give your Tyree Wilson thoughts, and then we'll get to our Sweet Prince at 8?
Yeah, I'm with Sweet Prince. I'm all about getting a quarterback for the Raiders. I just don't think the quarterback was there, right? Richardson off the board, Stroud and Young off the board. I'm not a big fan of Levis. I didn't know he'd fall to the second. So you have to take your number one biggest need outside of that has to be defensive back at this point. Offensive line is also a need. Paris Johnson Jr. off the board. Edge is always a need, but Tyree Wilson is too much boom and bust to take him at 7, the way I see it. Unless you're a team that has all the pieces in place and like an extra edge can just kind of push you over. I would have gone Gonzalez there personally. Maybe there's something people know about Gonzalez that we don't, which is why he fell.
But I agree. I would have preferred Gonzalez myself, but
based on what we know about these prospects, I would have gone either with an offensive tackle because they definitely need help on the offensive line as well. But Gonzalez would have been my pick there. So I'd go B-. I'm not going to go C as much as I don't like the pick because Wilson could be a stud. He's got the physical intangibles. Didn't test at all, by the way, because of an injury. So we didn't get to see just how athletic he is from a metric standpoint.
People had him mocked ahead of Will Anderson. Like they had him going 3.
Oh, the final legit football mock from my co-founder Joe had him at number 2 to the Texans. Wow. So I see that. All right, let's go ahead. Number 8, Bijan comes off the board at the very top of the range where people said he would. Number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. That's the generational running back out of the University of Texas. Our write-up, once in a decade running back prospect. Atlanta's offense is trending way up, grade A. This was one of our top 6 grades, Kevin, that you put out in the video today.
Yep, one of, I believe, 4 or 5 clean A's from Joe, and couldn't agree more. I guess maybe I'll throw a minus on there due to...
We can't say anything, but hey, if our chat wants to get non-PG, we'll put it up.
But you're right, though, Jonathan. But yeah, but family show. Freaking Falcons, man. No, I would say A- due to the asset allocation. I mean, you're not a Bijan away from a Super Bowl. Right? We can all agree on that. So maybe taking a running back at 8 when you
could you have gotten him later? Could you have traded back? And I know the Falcons wanted to. Maybe they didn't get the offer that they could, but lots of other teams are trading back. Hey, Jonathan, you can say whatever you want. You're not on the show. We just won't verbalize it. Yeah, you're good. You don't have to edit yourself.
I Bijan, man. I'm not going to fault them. I'm not even a sliver mad at them. I made the call in my new Cards on the Table series on the Legit Football page. I made the call that if I was Bijan away and I had a top 10 pick, I'd pull trigger. I don't think the Falcons are a Bijan away. So I think you could classify that as maybe irresponsible asset allocation.
I already have the next pick. Should I say it? I love it. Sure. Love it. Panthers select Ole Miss wide receiver Jonathan Mingo.
Great pick. Wow. They need a receiver. We've been saying that Adam Thielen's not the one. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I love it. You've got some veterans in there. DJ Moore out the door.
Yep.
You've got Adam Thielen in there, but he's on the other side of 30. Great veteran. You still have Laviska Shenault and Terrace Marshall. But Mingo is another guy who's on my radar. One of the bigger wide receivers in the draft that's full of a lot of small guys. Really good yak guy, good yards after catch, good physical guy. I like those guys who are physical at the catch point. So I'm a fan.
So Adrian and Jimmy and Brian, I was just kind of giving my Bijan thoughts. Do you guys want to jump in, piggyback on anything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're setting up Desmond Ridder for a lot of success. They've gotten Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. But like you said, will this move the needle we'll have to wait and see because just Desmond Ridder is kind of the needle mover at this point, especially if
he's the variable now. Yeah,
that offense. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying like the question mark at QB could cause some concerns for the future, but at that kind of draft spot, I don't know if there was a QB unless they really wanted Will Levis. I don't think there was a QB that would move the needle at all. So Bijan Robinson, he's going to be a playmaker. He is going to be a great wide receiver / running back playmaking ability. And I mean, they had Tyler Algier, but obviously those late round.
Sorry about your Tyler Algier.
Yeah,
Ryan, are you going to get the Algier tattoo covered up or what? How's that going to work?
Oh no!
I think I can find a good artist to turn it into Bijan somehow. Because I have the 101 in one of my leagues
you're good.
That
you're
I have
fine.
Algier in. So
create Algier for
just a cross through and then written underneath.
Create Algier for like an open bag of Doritos.
Algier, JK, Bijan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
I think my thoughts on Bijan, like, they all talk about him, generational talent. I think I get what everyone's saying where they're not a Bijan away, but I think he's going to like deliver for years to come, and they're going to get 5 years of him if he delivers. And who's to say they're not going to be a Bijan away 2 years from now, and they're going to have him.
Yeah. So I am never getting my Tua Takeda is going to get his Tua tattoo covered. Never. Never. All right. We were the number one offense for like a week last year. That's enough for me to keep my Tua tattoo on the other arm from my Tyler Algier tattoo. So real quick, Armand, Anthony has given me permission to have you be the one I'm going to put your picks up every time. So you put the pick in the chat. I will make sure to put it up here on the screen.
Oh, it's a party. Anthony said, I don't got to do nothing. I'm just chilling.
That's the Anthony approval. All right. I have two different takes. One is fantasy related and one is NFL related. I'll start with the fantasy one because you guys know I'm a big Tyler Algier fan. I have him in both my dynasty leagues. Was planning on him being a starting running back in both my dynasty leagues. One of those leagues, I also have the 101. So obviously, Bijan, I get the hype. I'm all about it. I traded for that 101. From fantasy, this is one of, if not the best landing spots for Bijan Robinson. This was a team that was one of the best rushing teams in the entire NFL last year. Without Bijan Robinson, with Tyler Algier, with Cordero Patterson, with Caleb Huntley, and they add this guy. If he ends up being an Edgerrin James or a LaDainian Tomlinson, then the pick is worth it. So from fantasy, slam dunk. Please, chalk me up for 25 to 30 points a week in PPR. I love it. From an NFL standpoint, I agree with Kevin. This doesn't move the needle for Atlanta. An Atlanta team that's had a fantastic offseason. They're my offseason darling, right? I've said that many times.
Both our darlings had some question marks yesterday.
And you could still you probably could have gotten Bijan. I mean, you can say, I love him at Philly, but I don't think Philly was going to take him really at the end of the day. So I think you could have gotten him later. There's still edge rushers that I would have taken here. Christian Gonzalez is still on the draft. You got AJ Terrell on one side, Jeff Okudah, TBD, you traded for him. But just like the Raiders, get another stud cornerback to go opposite your Raiders don't even have an opposite guy. So you already have AJ Terrell, all-pro there. So I would have gone that direction. But look, at the end of the day, if he's a Hall of Famer, nobody's going to question this pick.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Asset allocation out the window. It's so fun. It's so exciting. He's freaking Bijan Robinson, the 101. He's the generational talent, the next LaDainian Tomlinson. It's easy to overlook the potential mismanagement of asset allocations for once,
Yeah, Zach, completely agree with you. Mingo to Carolina, fire pick. Love that.
Yeah,
Panthers are going to be fun to watch this year.
Good fit. Yes. Thank you, Anthony. Absolutely. Saints select Isaiah Foskey. There it is. I've been waiting for his name to be called.
I actually don't know much about him as a prospect. Tell us, Kevin.
Oh, he's a great pass rusher. He was very heavily talked about in the first round. I'm very surprised that he wasn't the first edge drafted on day 2. I thought for sure him or Keon White would be the first edge drafted on day 2. We had, remind me again who got drafted a couple picks ago, Derek Hall, go before Foskey. But Foskey, and especially to the Saints, who, correct me if I'm wrong, did they take a defender yesterday as well? Did they take defensive line yesterday as well?
They took Brian Bresee.
That was remember I mocked him to the Bills. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love Bresee and I love Foskey. And I said that Cam Jordan's getting old, and I believe they lost Onumata, correct?
They lost their entire defensive interior.
So yeah, Foskey and Bresee and a weakness might turn into a strength for the Saints really quick. Yeah. I'm impressed.
I think I mocked Will McDonald to them in one draft. He obviously ended up going a lot earlier. So
that was
we're in
surprising.
agreement that they needed to address the defensive front, and the Saints have done that with their first 2 picks.
Yeah, and we got Jonathan. Same dude. What's going on there? That's questionable. Someone's gonna start looking to trade up for him. I think he's a stud.
Speaking of studs, pick 9. The Chicago Bears had it. Howie Roseman smelled blood in the water.
Beautiful.
Trades up to 9 to get what a lot of people consider, you take the off-the-field stuff off the table, the best prospect, period, in this draft, the most surefire slam dunk game wrecker, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia, at 9. And it didn't cost him much. I don't remember what the terms were to move up 1, but I think he only gave a 4th.
Yeah, 4th next year.
Yeah.
4th this year.
Yeah, Howie knows how to get it. You're right, Jonathan.
That
He
was
is absolutely a magician.
a fantastic trade, a fantastic pick. Joe's only A+, so
Only
I
A+?
think his only A+. He didn't get. I don't think he gave.
Oh, I
another
thought
A+.
you said he only gave him an A+, like you wanted an A++ or something.
Like no 2 pluses. Yeah, no. His only A+ of the draft, and I think it is an A+. I don't think I've given out an A+ yet, so I'm in concurrence with there. I'm all in on that.
I'll say this. Yeah, does anybody disagree that Jalen Carter at 9 to the freaking Eagles, who just lost Javon Hargrave, now get Jalen Carter on a rookie contract, 8 picks later than he might have gone without the off-the-field stuff, A+.
I mean, do you guys agree over here? Yeah, everybody agrees.
Everybody in Jimmy's war room agrees.
We're good.
War room in Indy agrees.
It's a perfect spot for him. Yeah, everybody, the veteran talent around him will be huge in helping him shape him as an NFL talent. So I'm excited for it.
It's crazy. The Super Bowl runner-up got possibly the most talented player in the class.
Right.
Like, when does that happen?
Yeah, we haven't talked about the second pick too. I mean,
oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it.
Let's package that in. Let's go ahead and do it that way because we're already like in almost an hour in, and we're only at 9 picks.
Bulldogs.
So at pick 30, without trading anything, they get edge Nolan Smith, who a lot of people were mocking in the top 10 in some mocks. Kevin, I know you and I are both big on Nolan Smith.
I love
this guy
Nolan
was
Smith.
running faster than Saquon in his 40, but he also is a great run defender. This isn't just a physical freak. This is a great football player. He's just on the smaller size. Even if you have concerns about him, to get him at 30 after getting Jalen Carter, mic drop.
Pretty much every pick from 15 on, I was like, it's Nolan Smith. Oh, no, it's going to be Nolan Smith. Oh, it's Nolan Smith. Buffalo traded up 2 picks. Spoiler alert. I was all in on Nolan Smith. I was very, very excited, and I was...
We thought Buffalo might take him at 27.
25. We talked about it, Brian. We talked about what Buffalo's defensive line turned into without Von Miller. So if you can have Von Miller and Von Miller Light or Von Miller Rookie or Von Miller Nas Edition, you take it, to pair with the real thing, to have Von Miller coaching him. I was so jazzed, and we'll talk about the Bills pick, and, I got a lot to say about it, and I'm not mad at all. But Nolan Smith to Philadelphia, along with Jalen Carter, and considering that they have Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham, it's unfair. Philly broke the league on the defense. Their trenches are going to be. Yeah,
the turf was faster in Indy this year during the combine for players like that.
Cardinals pick is in.
Absolutely insane.
Here we go.
It is pass rusher B.J. Ojulari out
Good
of
pick.
LSU at number 41. I
Good
like
pick.
That.
Yep. And
so now they've got Will Anderson on one side, Ojulari on the other side.
No, Cardinals didn't get Anderson.
Oh, the Texans did. That's right. They traded out.
Who did the Cardinals get with their Paris Johnson?
Johnson.
So that's
it's hard to keep everything good at this point.
Yeah, right. He went at that pick, but So that I mean, I don't think anybody's going to contest. That's 2 A's for Philly, maybe even an A+ for their first round.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people saying that they're winners of the first round.
Yeah,
it's hard to say they're not. It feels like just like last year.
I don't want to get into the Swift discussion until pick 12, which is almost there.
Fire emojis.
But I wanted to go ahead and bring this up from Zach, who says the Eagles cap off a legendary draft and trade a 4th for Swift. Put that on the back burner, guys, because I do want to discuss that shortly.
And Brian, you would love that, right? Because you're not a big Penny guy, or you like the talent, but you're nervous about his availability.
Correct, which is honestly the exact same thing I could say for DeAndre Swift. Love
That's
the talent,
fair.
Nervous about his availability, but I really like Kenneth Gainwell. So if you get him there with Swift and Penny, that's a really nice rotation.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Pick 10. The Bears moved back 1, got right tackle Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. B+ was the grade Joe gave him.
I thought Skoronski would be the pick.
Totally. Yeah, weird with Skoronski available. I
was very surprised. I'm not mad. Darnell Wright is fantastic. And we all had him going in the first round. I thought maybe mid-first round. I was a little surprised that was the pick with Skoronski available. Maybe they wanted more of a pure tackle. Brian, we talked about
they wanted a pure right tackle. Darnell Wright is pure right tackle.
Yeah.
Skoronski is tackle/guard. That's what NFL people are saying he's going to be. Darnell Wright is just a plug-and-play right tackle. They actually, I don't have his name in front of me, but they drafted a fifth-round tackle last year who ended up being pretty good at left tackle, so they didn't need a left tackle, the Bears.
Right.
So I think that was their logic here. Darnell Wright, just get him in there. A big physical bruiser type right tackle, add more protection for Justin Fields.
Yeah, I would give that pick an B+ because of where they got him, and if they wanted him, they might have been able to get him in the teens. Trade back a little.
Picked up a fourth, go from 9 to 10.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That was a good move.
Yeah, I think a lot of Bears fans were upset because they wanted Jalen Carter, but I don't know if Jalen Carter would kind of fit. I mean, he's a great player, but in terms of that overall team culture right now,
everybody wanted Jalen Carter.
Everybody does.
It was funny because go ahead. No, you wanna keep.
No, I was just gonna move it on, but keep going.
Oh, I just was gonna say we had a lot of Eagles fans in our mentions after Brian took Bijan with the Eagles pick. There was a lot of mad Eagles fans, which was very, very entertaining.
There's a little bit of wish casting on my final mock did not have Bijan going to the Eagles. My prediction mock, for what it's worth.
Where did you have him going?
I had Bijan go to the Cowboys at 20. I had that he fell, and then
they traded up.
Cowboys traded up with the Seahawks. Of course, none of that happened.
Hey, just before we move on,
I had 3 picks right. The entire rest of my mock was way off.
Hey, before we move on, unrelated. I'm watching NFL Game Pass on this screen here, and the pick just came in. We're so ahead of the game here. Like the pick Arizona just came
if you're not in our chat, you're behind.
Oh, missing out, man.
Come join.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Luke Musgrave.
Good pick.
Finally,
absolutely.
Stud.
Finally. Yeah. Good pick.
And we all thought the Packers might take a tight end in the first round.
By the way, we should have known better. We should have known better. Adrian, I want to hear your thoughts on this first as a Packers fan, but they don't select pass catchers in the first round, and yet every year the media buys in, I buy in, I put JS in there.
JSN should have gone there. I think should have taken JSN.
Look, you know what? The pick they made is not bad. I think the problem is that they're maintaining the same philosophy without the same quarterback. So you can't just you could afford to do that with Aaron Rodgers because force multiplier makes everyone around him better. Jordan Love is not that dude yet, so you can't. But anyway, look, I'm not mad at the pick. Like, I'm not furious. It's just JSN was available. I can tell you actually, I was in the middle of. I was actually because when this happens, right? It's 10 a.m. It starts in Australia time, and I was on a meeting. I was on a work meeting, so I was on a work meeting here, and I had the draft here. And as I was talking, I was just like,
I hope your boss isn't listening.
And then the pack came in, and I was just like, and I had to sort of just turn it on because I was supposed to be talking. But look, I'm not. My initial reaction was really, why could you not get JSN? Just give us this weapon. But I'm not mad. Look Van Ness, and we'll get to there as well. And now they've taken a tight end. Good on them.
Musgrave, great receiving tight end. So I like this particular type of tight end that they got here.
Yeah.
In the second round. And I said that, I think one of the reasons I didn't want to mock a tight end to them at 13, I said, this is a deep tight end class. The Packers will probably want to wait. I just thought they would go for a guy like JSN in the first.
And I mean, Luke last week injured most of 2022, but the 2 games he played, and I've got it here, he racked up 170 yards over 2 games. Like, super athletic dude. Good pick.
Yeah, if we're just flipping the order because we're already on it, I'm comfortable with that. Van Ness, Brian had mocked to the Bills at 27, and I was comfortable with that in one of our earlier mock drafts. And I like the talent. I like the position. 13 was rich, in my opinion. And with JSN on the board, so Joe gave the pick a C+. I'd give it a straight up C. Sorry, Adrian.
No. Look, I wanted him too, man. But I think, look, Van Ness is a stud. I do think
he's a stud. He's going to be a good player for sure. That's important to remember.
1 of 6 snaps, he got a pressure. 1 out of every 6.
Yeah,
roughly. So
I went ahead. We can talk about 13, and then we'll go back to 11 and 12.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it naturally worked out. I'm comfortable because Adrian was. We got our Packers fan, and they just picked. So,
Yeah, we love the natural flow of things. Yeah. So
this was the lowest grade. I think you might have mentioned that, Kevin. This was the lowest grade that
C+.
in the Legit Football Newsletter. C+.
Yeah. You know what? Weirdly though, for all of Goody's faults in the first round, he usually delivers. Goody, oh mate,
Goody.
I love
he,
that you call him that. So funny.
he delivers usually in second round onwards. So I'm going to trust in him. I really do hope he. I'm glad he got a weapon here. So
yeah, it's a
they
good
do
pick.
like their receiver core as well. Still think they should have taken JSN.
I love Watson.
JSN would have just been a nice. I like Watson. I'm a big Dobbs fan, but JSN would have gone right into the slot there. That they could use that guy on the inside.
They might need to add a veteran, like even I know he's not productive, or like a Jarvis Landry or someone just to build these guys up. Like they've got such a young receiver room.
Yeah, the first center off the board.
I like Joe Tippmann.
He
Good
is. Where is he from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah, the other center is
those
from
Wisconsin
Minnesota.
offensive linemen, man.
Yeah,
they're dogs.
Make him big.
So we'll get to that, but Jonathan, we appreciate you, man. This is exactly the kind of energy we need in the chat. This is the kind of energy we need supporting the show. You're a real one, bro. You're a
Jonathan. What are you making for us, man?
Yeah, bring some cater for us. Cater for the pod. Hey, yes, sir.
Including Anthony, we're in 5 different locations. You could probably send something to Kevin and Anthony together. They're at least in the same.
That's true.
city.
I could definitely get some catering to
shipping.
Otherwise,
Indiana.
We've got Indy, we've got San Francisco Bay Area, we've got freaking Australia. So.
Non-perishable for me, please. Non-perishable.
Yeah. Last thing on Lukas Van Ness, then we'll go back to 11 and 12 and keep going with the analysis of round 1. The words that Joe put in here with regards to the C+, traits prospect, still developing his technique, most importantly, doesn't help Jordan Love. And you could have traded back. I know you just traded up with that pick, but you could have traded back if you really weren't sold. But maybe they are. Maybe Van Ness ends up being great, but on its surface, not a lover of this pick. I will agree with this.
Just one real quick point on it though. They've got Rashawn Gary, who's similar kind of inside-outside player, and he's had some injury issues. So I think this might speak to his rehab. That's kind of sneaky. Like maybe
they needed edge. I will agree with that. It is a
Gary's
sneaky
a
need for them.
stud when he's healthy. He is a stud.
Right, let's go back to pick 11. Peter Skoronski goes to the Titans. Which at the time was like, well, we thought maybe this was Levis. They ended up getting Levis in the second round.
Such a good pick. It ages like fine wine. It ages like blue cheese. This is I am impressed with the Titans. This is an A+ because of the Levis in the second round.
Is that like, does blue cheese get better? I don't know.
I mean, it's like moldy cheese, so it's already aged, right? So
okay,
whatever the cheese that the blue cheese was originally, it ages like that cheese. That becomes tasty blue cheese.
I think I mocked
aqua cheese into blue cheese.
I think I mocked Paris Johnson to them, but I mean any solid offensive line and Peter Skoronski is the next best thing. So I'm excited for them. Yeah, I think it'll work.
Yeah, with Will Levis, A+.
Me and Joe are gonna have to have a conversation about his grade here. I don't get it.
What was it?
Skoronski?
B+.
B+.
So clean prospect, perennial Pro Bowl type at guard or right tackle. I think I'm gonna guess that B+ is because they didn't take a quarterback there, but he doesn't say that in the blurb, so it's hard to tell.
And maybe now it doesn't matter.
Maybe he didn't want to give away too many A's, but
in hindsight, benefit of hindsight, that makes the pick even better.
Oh yeah. And they needed offensive line help across the board. They really did. The Titans had one of the worst pass protection lines in the NFL last year. And
Colts are finally making a pick,
I
Jimmy.
love it.
Here we go.
Skoronski to me is definitely, I'd probably just put it in A. A lot of people said the best offensive line prospect in this class. You get him at 11. I don't care if it's a guard or tackle.
Great pick for me.
Yeah, love it.
All right, anybody have the next pick?
Colts pick is in. It's not leaked yet from anybody that I'm seeing. I'm watching the broadcast, but mine's a little behind everybody else's. Should we do the dreaded conversation of the 12th?
Let's wait till this next pick gets announced.
Got it.
And then we'll use the time after that, because this is going to be a discussion.
It's going to get ugly.
Anthony's going to pop back in.
I'm sorry, Anthony.
Yeah.
I don't
Jimmy's bracing.
Yes, give me the wait. I've been waiting for this music since last week, dude.
We need to find a way to put the whole music in.
This music is just dopamine for me. I'm feeling it infiltrate my brain.
Dude, I'm so relaxed now.
You turn it up?
I love this pick. I love this pick because I'm a big fan of this guy. No. Kansas State cornerback Julius Brents.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that makes sense.
Very good.
Fast. He's huge. He's like 6'3".
That's awesome.
Congrats, Jimmy.
With Gilmore out the door,
thanks, man.
Getting I think this guy could be this year's Tariq Woolen. So I love this pick, especially with the Colts having traded back a few times and still getting him. Yeah. But Jimmy, please, Colts fan.
I mean, yeah, we needed some some secondary help with Gilmore being traded to the Cowboys. Yeah, we secured a fifth for him. So I mean, we had Isaiah Rodgers and Kenny Moore, but
Kenny Moore's great
corner.
But
yeah, Kenny Moore's solid. He did have a great year last year. Yeah, he was kind of misused a little bit last year, and he didn't do as good. But yeah, I'm excited for this pick. So.
Brent's is going to be great on the outside there. That's a good pick. Yeah. Happy for you.
Time to watch highlights.
Sneaky, one of my favorite defensive back prospects, Julius Brents. I just think he's like I said, he's got a very similar profile from an athleticism and a size standpoint as Tariq Woolen, and he was productive in college at Kansas State. So,
and to think we traded back and got a fourth and a fifth and still got a solid guy to help out. Chris Ballard always does that.
Ballard's
always makes
great.
Me happy. So he's good in that way.
All right, now let's get into it. Great pick by Indy. Indy is definitely doing a great job in this draft. Number 12, after the Lions traded out of 6, picked up great compensation, early second. They take running back Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. Now, we can talk about the prospect, or we can talk about positional value. I'm sure we all have thoughts. Let's hear from Anthony first. We owe him that. A- was the grade from the Legit Football newsletter. I disagree, but Anthony, please, you have the floor.
There was a rumor that DeAndre Swift was on the trade block this morning on
Not
Twitter.
Not a rumor anymore.
Shut that rumor down. He said, as of right now, he is a Lion. His contract is with us. That's what he said. I think he's going to be traded.
I'm going to burst your bubble there. That at this moment, he is a name NFL team.
The opposite
don't
get
me wrong.
the opposite of not available.
The Lions are on the clock right now.
Traded. He's just been injury prone. He's been unproductive. He doesn't.
That's like saying I am currently in the state of California. It doesn't mean I'll always be in the state of California. It just means I'm physically sitting in Cali.
No, of course. No, I want him to be traded. I do.
Yeah,
I want him to. And now we have this young guy in Jahmyr Gibbs, and I just think that he has the talent to run the. I mean, we have David Montgomery too, and I think that's really good. I mean, we even re-signed Craig Reynolds. He's not the best, but he's good at third string. So I think trading Swift and taking an early running back like this in the draft is a really good way to establish the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions. We're trying to flip it over, get rid of all the mistakes that were made 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I like the pick a lot, and he's extremely talented. I've been watching a lot of his highlights, and he's very fast. He can make people miss. He can break tackles.
Great prospect.
It's
great prospect.
Liking the prospect.
Didn't
need
to get him at 12.
Are so different, right?
It was a little early, but it makes me think that other teams might have been interested.
And you gave a pretty big contract to David Montgomery. That hasn't even been mentioned as part of this yet.
What the hell?
I mean, we have a really good offensive line, have a brand new tight end now, so this run game could be one of the best run games in the league next season.
Okay, but you could have gotten him after 12. That's my biggest issue. Is actually not with Gibbs as a prospect.
Hard to believe he wouldn't have gone before 25, 26. Like, hard to believe he would even be gone before, like, I think 25 is the earliest I could have seen him get picked.
There were rumors I saw today that the Jets were interested. I don't know if I buy that.
Traded up.
Yeah, Lions traded up.
With the Packers.
Actually in.
Nonetheless. So the term is pick 159 to move back or to move up 3 spots. So the Packers moved to 48. Lions moved to 45. I'm going to say Hendon Hooker for everybody who even remotely could use a quarterback.
Every time.
I'm just going to keep saying it.
And I'm going to keep being shocked.
Ringo.
Oh, is that your prediction or is that
you want Ringo or you're predicting Ringo?
No, that's my prediction.
Ringo would be a fantastic pick here.
And they need a corner.
Some people mocked him in the first. They could use an additional corner. They traded away
Brian
Jeff
Branch.
Okuda. I know.
Great pick.
Ooh,
Brian Branch.
Oh, he's finally off.
All right. See, Lions are
okay.
they're
I'm
redeeming themselves a little bit.
Him and CJJ, baby. Okay.
So
I like that pick a lot. I like
the
pick in the draft.
Love it.
Twitter
PFF had him. PFF had Branch as their number 15th overall prospect, and he just landed at 45 with the Lions. That I love.
I actually thought the Packers were going to take him.
I like it.
I think they were, which is why the Lions traded up with him.
Why would you try? Yeah, anyway.
They would have picked him, though, if they
on my second round mock draft, I had the Packers taking him. So
yeah. Wow. No, that's a good pick, though.
I'm glad,
So Brian, we can say our piece now about the Gibbs, right? Like we can just get it off
all
our
of the
chest.
Lions stuff. Let's package pick 18
Campbell.
Jack Campbell.
Yeah. So Gibbs,
middle linebacker out of Iowa.
Amazing prospect, but Brian gave me a hard time for taking him at 26. Brian gave me a hard time when I took him at 26 with Dallas, and I thought that was like, even that was a reach, to be honest with you. I had a feeling he'd go in the first round, but I had a feeling he'd go between picks 25 and 31. I was very surprised that he went 12. Could have traded back a little bit, could have picked up some assets. I'd give this pick a C because of the asset allocation. I think it's I think it's a mismanagement. Thank you, Anthony. Exactly. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. This guy's a very good running back.
Great running back.
Not a generational running back. He's not on Bijan's level. I know this. We heard some NFL teams had them higher on the board, maybe because of their individual needs, and that's fine. But not number 12 when you had other needs. You got your up-and-coming wide receiver is out the first 6 games. Suddenly pass catcher is a need. Your stud tight end is now with the Vikings of your own volition. That's fine. You could use defensive line help. Aiden Hutchinson, great. James Houston, but you need some people on the interior. There were definitely players still available, and if there weren't anybody you liked at 12, you could have traded back. The fact that they stayed at 12 and took a guy that they probably could have gotten later, and even if they didn't, this is a pretty deep running back class. This pick baffled me. I wasn't a fan of the Campbell pick. I want to talk about that as well, but I'm a little bit more okay with that than I am taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
Yeah.
When you just paid David Montgomery, when you still have DeAndre Swift, I just think they could have done much better in a bunch of different directions than what they did at 12. That's my issue with it. I'm giving it a C-. That would probably be my lowest grade of the draft.
Yikes.
Yeah,
I shut everybody down. There was a moment of silence there. I love it.
I was when I was working out kind of who I thought winners and losers were. Sorry, Anth, I thought the Lions, not because the prospect, because the prospect is awesome, but just the pick and where it was.
Yeah.
All right.
Although, fun fact, caught 1,200 yards through the air over the last 3 seasons. Catch the ball as well.
Oh yeah.
Great
receiver.
Definitely.
A lot of Kamara comps.
I don't have to even say how much I love Jack Campbell, the prospect. I love Jack Campbell, the prospect.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
Pat select edge
Keanu
White. No, that defense is getting good. They took Christian Gonzalez yesterday.
They got a couple good steals there.
White now.
Yeah, we haven't even got to the Gonzalez pick yet.
I'm shooketh. First round. I am officially shooketh, boys. Okay. Campbell.
Let's talk about Campbell too. Yeah, let's package that.
Great, fantastic prospect, off-ball linebacker. Like if Dan Campbell knows something that the league doesn't know, as far as how people felt about Campbell. I mean, look, I wouldn't have put it past Buffalo to take him just to say, this is our guy. Maybe that's why they moved up to 25. Cause Brandon Beane always says when he starts to run out of first round grades is when he starts to get antsy and start thinking about trading up. And he did. So I wouldn't be surprised if the league circles and teams were higher on Campbell than NFL media, because off-ball linebacker has been significantly devalued as proven by this year's free agent class. Tremaine Edmonds' contract is an outlier, but Jack Campbell is such a great prospect. And so at 18, prospect A+, fit A+, asset allocation B- at 18.
Which averages out to
B+.
B+ pick.
Yeah, I love Jack Campbell. I can't possibly knock that pick, but it was just
Jimmy,
didn't think they needed to do it.
Your thoughts on the whole Lions situation?
Yeah. I mean, if Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel like he has to be one like really, really good for me to love that pick, especially with DeAndre Swift. I was very confused. You messaged us before that pick and said like, or you thought it was going to be Bijan. I was like, well, they have a couple of running backs right now, and then they ended up taking Jahmyr Gibbs anyways. So hopefully that works out. Jack Campbell, like you guys have said, he's a great talent. And I don't think that's as bad of a pick. I know linebackers and running backs and stuff don't usually go in the first round like that. There's a lot of other positions.
Real quick, I want to keep talking about this. Commanders selected Illinois safety Jartavius Martin with pick 47.
It's cool. It's a good pick.
They're in on Howell.
Armand now.
Hendon Hooker's still over there.
Yeah.
But
I'd go C+.
Jimmy.
I'd go C+ overall.
Overall?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Between the two moves or
combined.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I give C-. C+ works for the two moves. I'm actually going to agree with that.
Between both, I think I would probably go B, but I'm a little biased.
That's okay.
Just seeing what Brad Holmes has been doing, I feel like he has a game plan, and I want to see it executed before I make any speculation.
Yeah, that's fair.
How often,
if it works, none of
in
this
past
matters.
drafts, right? How often in past drafts do we shut a player down and then they have an incredible rookie year? How many times? And so I just think about it, like someone picked
it works both ways.
Round, almost made it to the Super Bowl. Like
important distinction, wild. Anthony. We think these are both great prospects.
We love the players.
Number 1 inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker, number 2 running back,
hands down.
But you definitely could. We were mocking Campbell at the end of the first. Kevin was like, he could slide into the second.
I traded up for Campbell because that's how badly I want. Yeah. I love Campbell. Like that's.
But there are other needs, right? Defensive back, like I said, defensive interior. There were guys still on the board. Kalijah Cansey still on the board. Brian Bresee still on the board at this point. Even if you don't want to take them at 18,
Bucks traded up. Bucks traded up. Hendon Hooker.
Every time. Sounds really weird without context. If you just hear Hooker.
I love it.
This has to be though, right? This has to.
It has to be. It has to be.
I think it's
unless there's a running back they like
Brian very astutely pointed out that nothing. We always say it has to be or it's a lock or whatever. There are no it has to be's. There are no locks in this draft.
Not even close.
It is not going to happen. So yeah, I'm glad we can put a bow on the Lions discussion, Anthony. Don't dunk on us when these players turn out to be fantastic because we all agree.
Definitely not. Because
I get
where you're at with the management.
Same with Bijan. Yeah,
I totally get it. I think one of those things where it's like it's almost a panic pick where you're like, we better pick him before he goes.
I thought the same thing.
You want your guy. You've been saying that this whole time, so you're gonna get your guy.
And I mean, based off our mock draft, what do we know? They could have gone. I mean, they went and got their guys, and they're great talents, they're great prospects, like we've all said. So it could easily work out. And now they got Brian Branch, which is a great steal. That's a great value there.
They got a tight end. Yeah, they're gonna be all right. I think people were saying. I saw a tweet that was like, Lions are back to their ways. Lions are back where they've been, and it's like, no, they're not.
I just have to get out of here. Except Rappaport's face.
Yeah, you can't pay attention. Like that's just unfortunate that they weren't a little more responsible with their assets, but Dan Campbell.
We'll see how it turns out.
Does Dan Campbell seem like the kind of guy who is going to care about responsibility when it comes to a freaking big linebacker who's going to bite people's kneecaps off? No, he doesn't care. Give me Campbell. Yeah. He had a post-it note that said Jack Campbell. No matter what, he did it.
I mean, the same last name. I mean, this is the
it's probably
I've been thinking about this for weeks.
By the way, Adrian, sneakily, your Packers have now traded back twice.
Yeah,
stockpiling some of those later picks.
Colts move right there.
Bye, Anthony.
Bye, Anthony.
So who do we have next in the first? Now that we know Pats took Keon White, great pick for the Pats.
Martin. We talked about the Packers already.
47.
Yeah, so Broderick Jones, number 14.
They traded up for him.
They trade up to get ahead of the Jets. Kevin, you mentioned this earlier, so I'll let you lead this discussion.
That was such a nice snipe. Yeah. Because you had to know that was going to be where the Jets were looking. Everybody wants to protect Rodgers, and Broderick Jones was the last of those blue chip tackle prospects, and they got him. They got their guy. I believe. Yep. Joe gave it an A. I give it an A. And
the fact that, and once again, in hindsight, it just adds even more value. The fact that they still got Joey Porter
in the second
at
round.
the top of the second round. Steelers are another team.
Batting 1,000 right now.
Winning this for sure.
Batting 1,000 in this draft.
Yeah, I feel like it's happened with quite a few teams where they we mocked him in the first round and they end up getting him in the second round anyways.
We talked about team fits, right? We said we would get team fits, maybe not picks.
Yeah, we were right.
The team matches. We were totally
our mock went so good. Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, Jimmy,
to keep things moving, any dissension with Broderick Jones or that move? If not, we'll keep on moving because
I think Adrian might have.
All I was going to say is I liked him better than Darnell Wright, like as a prospect. So get him for him.
Real quick, because Adrian is such a Baker guy. Jonathan Engelman, through everything, I still like Baker. We're talking about the Bucs.
Yeah,
they're going to pick. It's going to be
through everything.
Everybody does.
Still don't see that pick.
Except for me, to be honest.
Number 15, the New York Jets, after not getting Broderick Jones, take edge Will McDonald, the fourth out of Iowa State. Lots of production, bendy type guy. Nice pick, not as fun as Jackson Smith-Njigba would have been. Is the write-up in today's legit football?
That would have been hilarious.
Agree.
And
I also want to hear from Armand, because Armand at the beginning said he wasn't happy with the Jets pick in the first round. So Armand would love to hear what your feelings were when taking Will McDonald pick 15 last night.
Joe gave
you
this
guys
pick
can talk in the
a
meantime.
B minus, right?
No, we're
Joe,
waiting.
Joe,
We're waiting.
Okay.
Joe gave this pick a B minus, right?
No,
B.
just a B.
Just a B.
B
Yeah,
for McDonald.
I go B minus.
I would give it a B minus as well. Cody Mock. They traded up for Cody Mock.
They
He's a
needed
great
a tackle.
prospect.
They needed a tackle.
Great prospect. Man, this hooker slide. Well, it's not really a slide. I mean,
Not
dude
a
tore his
slide.
we
ACL.
didn't
and
know
he
where
was
he was going
41
When the
years
We'll
hooker
never
old.
slides.
I know.
He'll never slid, so eventually Hendon Hooker's kind of gonna do the same.
Yeah, the McDonald stuff. Yeah, he's a freak. He's a traits guy, and he's a great prospect. And I mentioned in one
Great
of the
production
headlines.
too. I mean, he's not just one of the Tyree Wilson. Not so much production.
Right.
McDonald actually has numbers at least.
I mentioned in one of the headline videos that he had like 11 top 30 visits or something crazy like that. He climbed boards. He was one of those risers in the process. And yeah, it's hard not to like.
Oh, Steelers pick already came in too. Sorry, real quick. Keanu Benton, defensive tackle.
Oh,
out of
I
Wisconsin.
love Keanu
First to the
Benton.
Steeler out of 49. Steelers. I'm loving Pittsburgh's draft right now.
Why are you doing this to me, man? Why are you on air too? I have to pretend like I'm not upset.
You don't have to.
Okay,
Show your feelings, man. Show your feelings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't have to
This
pretend.
is a
you ever
safe
held-
space,
I've been
man.
waiting for an interior defensive line buff for the Bills for a while, man. Like you guys know, I wanted Brise in the first. Benton was my second round guy. Benton was I thought 59 was realistic. This is
Armand
gross.
gave his thoughts. He says I would have preferred they trade up to 12, meaning the Jets at 15.
Yes,
With
Armand.
the Lions, that could have worked for you, Anthony, to get Broderick Jones or take Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith.
And if
Nolan
they went
Smith.
wide receiver, his preference would have been Zay Flowers. They didn't
Over
do any of
JSN.
those.
Okay.
They
I'm
didn't
glad
do any of those. They went.
I'm
with
glad they
McDonald,
didn't do the Zay Flowers thing because I love Garrett Wilson and I don't want anybody to touch his target share. I want his targets through the roof. I did trade him in Dynasty last year. And admittedly, that was a lot of Zach Wilson related. And also, I needed a running back. It was one of those championship or bust seasons for me. I got the chip, so I'm not mad
So.
about
then
it.
it's all worth it.
But I'll
you're
miss
the
Garrett
Rams,
Wilson,
Like, who
though.
cares?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
cry. I do miss Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna dry my tears with my money. But Keanu Benton, that's such a great pick. The Steelers are batting 1,000, just like they always do. God, I hate them.
Let's go on to number 16. Washington Commanders. This was one of the only three team matching picks I got right in my final mock. Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. Elite coverage instincts, 14 interceptions, 6 pick sixes in college.
Yeah.
A- was
wonderful
the
pick.
grade. I'm
ball
going to agree
hawk.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, the most pick sixes in NCAA history.
And
160
Washington had
pound.
one of the, I think they were second or third worst in interceptions in the NFL last year. So why not get the guy who's an absolute ball hawk?
Yeah, I mean, he's a small guy, but if you
think
can
that's why he
go
dropped.
get the ball, yeah. But he's still
Yeah,
over Christian Gonzalez too, so that's
Yeah, but he's a skinnier dude. But I actually think he would have been if that wasn't a factor, he might have been higher on people's mocks as well.
I think he's
top 10,
6'1", like
yeah.
166, but he
Yeah.
doesn't play like it. He plays very much above his weight. Very physical guy. Loves to very aggressive, which is why he has these interceptions. Maybe that's something they'll need to trim down a little bit in the NFL.
Yeah.
But definitely doesn't play like a 166-pound defensive back.
Who did we send to the Commanders in our second mock, the owner mock? Because I know I took Howell in the first, or no, Levis. I mean, in the first.
here. Give me a second, I'll find it real quick.
Because I'm trying to remember the second one, the Be the GM one. I don't remember. Was that my pick?
I love
Jaden
this.
Reed.
I love this. I
Good
love
pick.
this. I'm a big Jaden. I like Jaden Reed. Great.
Emmanuel Forbes
really
with the Vikings.
Really
Oh,
showed up in the
we had
Senior
Nolan Smith.
Bowl. Really,
Nolan
really
Smith, yeah.
fast guy,
Yeah.
shifty. Plays one of those small guys like so many of these wide receivers, but plays above his size. I think he's 5'9", 185.
Congrats,
or so.
Adrian.
Thanks, man. It's nice. They've picked up a couple picks. They've got
Musgrave, Reed.
Yeah.
That's a nice haul for
This
the
guy
Packers
can
today.
fit that. We said they needed a slot. This guy fits that, Adrian.
Him and Christian Watson on the field at the same time. Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And Dobbs.
They really
Don't
needed
forget
a
about
slot, too.
Dobbs.
I'm sorry. I'm just not the biggest Dobbs guy.
I'm with you, McFadden. I like Dobbs as well. And this is kind of what
Doesn't
Anthony
really
was
jump off
saying.
the screen to me. Nothing about
I
him.
know
Maybe size.
where they got him. Where was it? Third or fourth round. And like I just feel like he's got a lot of potential. But what Anthony was saying is, I really do trust the head office, and that kind of makes even when they pick Venice, like I just trust the head office to know what they're doing.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way. So clearly, so are we all. We're all very trusting of our GMs.
Yeah. Yeah, good pick.
Jimmy gave us a look there. Maybe not so much Jimmy.
Ballard's good. No, I
drafting wise,
he's thinking of Irsay maybe.
Sure. Good point.
Drafting wise, absolutely.
I like Greer. I think Greer's done a pretty good job in Miami too. So
yeah, I mean, I love Brandon Bean, Big Baller Bean.
Us.
I know. As far as organizational,
I'll say this. Mine's the opposite. I like what Greer has done outside of the draft. Getting Tyree Kill, getting Jalen Ramsey. The rest of his draft picks.
Forfeiting a first-round pick isn't ideal.
Tua is pretty cool.
That's in fairness, that was the owner, Stephen Ross.
That's right.
Absolutely can't stand.
I do love me some Tua for the record.
Our owners are interesting, aren't they?
That's a whole nother discussion. Irsay might be the craziest out of all of them. Packers don't even really
crazy.
Have an owner, so.
Adrian's actually the Packers owner.
Yeah, you got shares. You got shares.
Wow.
I didn't buy. I'm going to be honest with you, but there's just thousands and thousands of owners. I should have.
So, here's what I'm thinking, boys. If you guys are cool with this, I already mentioned I am going to have to go to my quote unquote day job soon, but I'm thinking if you guys don't mind, I'm thinking about just throwing on my uniform and coming and chopping it up until the last possible second, until the buzzer. Sure. If you guys are cool with that, of course. Because I know this is kind of a looser, more casual pod, so I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying the flow, and I definitely want to get to the rest of the first round. So don't do anything too fun while I'm gone, and try to have some bullet points for me when I get back. Okay, I'll be right back.
I guess to work with you.
Huh? Oh, there you go.
Work with you. Yeah,
we're going to talk about Christian Gonzalez. So yeah,
love the pick. A+ pick, A+ value. Can't believe they did that and traded down. I'm furious. Thank you.
I actually don't have much different analysis than that.
Agreed.
So the Patriots get him at 17. He was. Some people had him above. Devon Witherspoon is the top cornerback. A lot of top, big boards had him there. I mocked him multiple times at number 7 to the Raiders. Instead, he goes 17, Jimmy, to the Patriots, who traded back and still got one of the top 2 cornerbacks in here. Bill Belichick special. Our grade in legit football was A-. Gotta agree with this. Might even just give it a straight A.
I don't know how they keep getting away with this, but yeah, Keon White and Christian Gonzalez as the defensive players so far. I mean, that's pretty good value on both of those, and their defense has definitely stepped up, and I'm sure Bill Belichick is happy. Their offense, I mean, there's still a lot of question marks and stuff there. But a lot of people were wanting Will Levis, but I never saw that. I think that would have been
Seahawks trade up Hendon Hooker.
Oh my gosh!
Anybody who outside remotely uses a quarterback, I'm going to say that.
I don't even know if he goes this round, dude.
Hendon Hooker would be a good pick here. I like this.
With Will Levis
if they did go Hendon Hooker, I would love it.
I read so much analysis that people are surprised Hooker's going to go in the top 20. Psh, nope,
out the window.
Not surprised anymore.
Goes to show.
Yeah, if anyone watching doesn't read the Legit Football newsletter, you should. But we mentioned that he was ranked 5th overall. To get him at 17, like that's just such great value.
Yeah, fantastic.
And my best friend is a Pats fan, so I'll forever hate them. Sorry, and you're an Easter, so I'm sure you'll be happy with that. Yeah, it's a good pick, and they just happen to get lucky every freaking year.
No, we don't have to dwell on that. Bill Belichick wins again. Surprise, surprise. Let's move on to pick 19 because we already talked about Jack Campbell to the Lions at 18. This is who I think the Lions should have picked, and I was convinced they were, and I mocked multiple times, and that is defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey. Call him Aaron Donald Jr., who went to Pitt, who went to the Bucks and got him at 19. Don Mega. What's up, Max? First time getting to tune in to broadcast long form. Really enjoying the stream. Appreciate you hanging out.
Sweet.
Thanks, Don Mega.
So Kalijah Cansey falls to the Bucks at 19, guys. Our grade was a B. I'm a little disappointed in Joe's grade on this because I love Cansey as a prospect. Think he could have gone even higher.
Plenty of people mocked him higher. Sorry, Jimmy, you go.
Warner.
I feel like he was an underrated. I feel like I didn't hear a lot about him, but I mean, he's a fast guy that can get to the quarterback. I mean, he's going to make some explosive plays for them, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I think he's a little undersized, but he led all interior defenses in pass rush grade. He's a good prospect, and like I said, a lot of people mocked him higher. So love the pick. I'm all for them not taking a quarterback because I love me some Baker Mayfield. So good pick.
Do you actually?
I do. I don't know what I think I like his story. I don't think it's the.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before we started going live. You love the stories. Yeah, it's the underdog story.
Yeah,
it is. and he's got a good mentality. You know, he's like the Johnny Manziel type, but he's wanting to stay in the league and do whatever he can to stay in. So
I just think that the Browns wronged him. Anyway, I won't get into I've talked about Baker enough on this show.
So Miami Dolphins, with their first pick of the 2023 draft, select cornerback Cam Smith out of South Carolina. I actually really like the prospect. Yeah. I did not want the Dolphins to go cornerback here. We just traded for Jalen Ramsey. We still have Xavier Howard. Yes, he's getting a little bit older. Kader Kohu actually was pretty solid last year, so we're deep in the secondary, right? We have Javon Holland, we have Brandon Jones. I mean, Cam Smith, maybe he's the successor to Xavier Howard, who I think is getting close to age 30. But we really needed offensive line help. People are mocking a tight end. I'm fine on them waiting for tight end. So I think I would have wanted. You could use a guard, you could use a tackle. Osiris Torrance is still on the board. There might be something we don't know about him. So it's like, love the prospects, not a great need fit for Miami.
Yeah, I felt like wanting to protect Tua would be like the biggest need there on the offensive line. And yeah, you said you guys traded for Jalen Ramsey. So I guess this is more of like a future pick, but corners are always necessary too. So.
Oh, I love this. Oh, well, I love the prospect.
Whoa.
When you got Kenneth Walker,
wow.
I'm sure a lot of people think, and I'm of this mold, that Charbonnet could be a 3-down back, a starter in the NFL. And the Seahawks took him when they got one of a Rookie of the Year candidate in Kenneth Walker from last year. I'm a bit surprised by this, guys.
Yeah, some people had him above Jahmyr Gibbs too, I think.
This says a lot about, I mean, if you look at, and we're about to talk about pick 20 as well, they got JSN, Zach Charbonnet. Like, to me, this kind of says they're really believing in Geno Smith, not just as a one-year thing. Like, I mean, their contract says that they believe in him, but we all kind of expected that they'd pick someone and develop them behind him. It kind of says they believe in him. I like it. I don't mind Geno Smith. I like him. He's all right.
Yeah, he is all right.
Top draft analysis right there. He's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah.
He's all right. Hey, he took him to the playoffs when everybody.
Hey, he didn't write back.
He
didn't write back.
Yeah.
So running back.
Charbonnet at Seattle.
Yeah,
great pick.
That's interesting.
Interesting landing spot.
Is it a great pick?
I think he's a great player. I absolutely love Charbonnet.
I do. But you've got.
Is
Kenneth
it the same
Walker
thing
there,
like the
offensive rookie?
Maybe it's Walker Insurance.
Feels like a Lions. The Lions
Walker's historically.
Pete Carroll's
nice.
been talking to Dan
Jimmy.
Campbell.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love the prospect. I hate the landing spot because I think it handicaps him and Walker's upside. From a fantasy standpoint.
Great fantasy.
One of the best. You know what? Good for Seattle, bad for, they did the same thing with JSN. We haven't gotten to JSN yet, but I was very mad that that's where he landed. I was very mad myself.
You were mad that Seattle took him?
I was mad that for JSN fantasy stock, I was really mad that he was.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that last night.
I think it's a great landing spot. Actually, let's go to that next because we just talked. Anybody Cansey takes?
Oh, great pick.
No,
great pick.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, let's go on to number 20.
Was there any other picks that we? Who was 18?
No,
Christian Gonzalez.
Campbell. We did. Campbell. We did previously.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Campbell. Yeah. Let's lock it up.
Picks. The Dolphins made a pick.
Cam Smith is great. Great pick. Congrats.
Thank you. Great prospect. The corner was not our biggest need, but Cam Smith, I really like him as a prospect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't have too much secondary.
You're gonna learn from Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
Good.
The first wide receiver off the board comes at 20. Jackson Smith-Njigba. A lot of people think he was the top wide receiver. As I said, Adrian had him mocked at 13 to the Packers. Instead, he goes all the way back at 20 to the Seattle Seahawks, who just get to sit back and wait after taking the top corner at 5 and get the top wide receiver at 20. Tyler Lockett, future replacement, but in the meantime, I think he'll be great in the slot with Lockett on the outside and DK Metcalf on the other side. So I loved this pick for Seattle. I think right up there with Philly. The Seahawks had a fantastic first round. Yeah,
and great trio of receivers now. Like I hear your point, Kevin. It's going to take away from his share of passes, but great trio. As far as wide receiver rooms, top 3, along with Dolphins. I'd put Dolphins up there with them. I don't know, but I think
top 3 Bengals maybe with Boyd. I love Boyd.
Yeah. So
I mean, obviously Jason Higgins are
I wanted him, so I obviously fancy me some Jackson Smith-Njigba. But like I was just saying before, I think it means they believe in Geno. They're trying to put some weapons around him. Coupled with their new running back that they've just picked. I think that grade A for getting a player of that caliber at 20. I agree with that.
Yeah,
it might be shocked to believe. I agree with an A.
It's no, it's an absolutely fantastic pick for Seattle, and they have their Lockett replacement when he retires, and Metcalf already extended, correct? Already signed? Huge extension, right?
They already re-signed
Metcalf got paid, right? So I just feel like them too. I mean, look, we all know that the best way to win in today's NFL is to have two great receivers, not two good receivers, not a great and a good, but two great. And they have that now. They have three great. I was just really hoping Smith-Njigba would go somewhere where he'd be the guy.
Yeah.
And I think in a receiving core with DK Metcalf, you won't be the guy because DK Metcalf is the guy.
You know, one bright side here is like he won't get the cornerback that like the number one cornerback. I think
that's true.
Yeah, kind of overlooked, and all the looks will go elsewhere. Now they have Zach as a running back. I mean, they're getting a lot of good skill position players and getting some defensive guys. So, I mean, the Seahawks.
So let's do this since we're at 20, and I know Kevin has to go soon, and we'll wrap up the show somewhat soon in general. Let's go through. We'll get quick reactions. If anybody has a longer take, feel free. But this started a run of wide receivers. Number 21, the Chargers take Quentin Johnson, wide receiver out of TCU. The only really big wide receiver to go in the first.
We have a visual meme here. It's the Spider-Men pointing at each other with Quentin Johnston, and it's Mike Williams is the other one.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. Mike Williams going into his last year of his contract has had trouble staying healthy. Is this a Mike Williams replacement?
Feels
like Allen's getting older too.
Completely different skill set. We should note that. I know Quentin Johnson is taller, but he's actually very thin. Very good after the catch. Not a great like 50-50 guy. Which Mike Williams is known for just going up there and mossing DBs at the point of the catch.
Yeah, it's a fine pick for them. B- is my grade. I agree with Joe.
That's what legit football gave.
Yep.
I think I agree. B-. Zay Flowers goes to the Ravens at 22. We didn't really talk about Lamar, and we're not going to go into it now because of the time. But Lamar signs a 5-year extension. At the moment, the highest paid player in NFL history. Just one-upping Jalen Hurts, who signed his deal about a week ago.
Congrats to Lamar.
Rashad Bateman coming back from injury, and then they add another receiver, Zay Flowers, out of Boston College. A- is the grade in legit football.
Man, yeah, I mean, just the wide receivers that they've been picking, they don't seem to get like up to that top tier level. So hopefully they'll be able to do that with Zay. But like Rashad Bateman, he's had some issues. Hollywood Browns elsewhere, but they have to get weapons for him. And it sounds like DeAndre Hopkins might be off the table now.
I agree with.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Austin Ford said doesn't expect him to get traded this week.
Oh, okay.
I still think he'll get traded. We'll see which direction he
goes.
goes.
I agree with Joe again. Zay Flowers, stud prospect. Would have loved him in Buffalo. Great separator. I think he'll do great things in that offense with OBJ and Rashad Bateman. I'm a little more nervous about the Ravens than I've been in past years.
I think I'm just going to put the picks up. If you guys,
don't have Dexter, comment, great pick. Stud.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is talking to the next pick as well. I kind of expected Addison to go ahead of Johnson and Flowers. But still a good pick. And with Odell there, I just have to say that, and this is unrelated to his talent, I hate the look of Zay Flowers. Like he just looks like such a cocky little dude. It killed me on the inside. But
on that note, a reporter asked him, like, how do you feel about going into the teams in the AFC North? And he said, what teams are in the AFC North?
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
I liked his little shades. I thought those were pretty fresh. Myself, I know you probably hated them, but I was a fan.
They all love to, like, they've all got a heap of swagger when they come on the stage. Like it's not a general thing. It's just Zay Flowers in general, something about him. And if I'm being honest, I'm kind of the same about Metcalf. Like I just don't like, they just look uber cocky. But anyway, look, I guess you need that kind of thing.
Hey, Metcalf backs it up. If I don't care what they look like,
that's true.
And I don't back it up. Too. That's when it becomes a problem.
Zay will be a dog in Baltimore.
All right, Addison, as Adrian mentioned, Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC and formerly out of Pitt, goes to the Minnesota Vikings to be the presumed number 2. This is probably the most immediate impact, I would say, of the wide receivers that were taken. Being opposite Justin Jefferson, I know KJ Osborne definitely has shown flashes and will be a productive receiver, but Jordan Addison, I think, could immediately slot in to be that number 2 guy in Minnesota.
That duo sounds filthy. I love it.
Yeah, and he goes well he pairs well with Jefferson, I think. I think their skill sets are very complementary. Osborne never was meant to be a 2. I think he's going to be a great 3. And yeah, I'm happy with that pick. I like Addison, the prospect. His size is a concern. and he didn't have
so
a great...
many of these guys. The size
right,
is a
literally.
concern. And he didn't test well.
He didn't test
ran
well.
slower
That's
than what people thought. However, the one thing I like about and I've mentioned this before is any guy who's playing at one school with a quarterback goes to a completely different school with a different quarterback and still excels. And he did that going from Kenny Pickett and Pitt to Caleb Williams and USC. Granted, 2 good college quarterbacks, but like he just comes right in with a whole different offense and still excels. Oh, so we got Chargers selected defensive tackle Tuli Tupulotu. Nailed it.
Yep.
And then it looks like we have the Chiefs trading up. Who was on the board? Who did the Chiefs trade with?
The Lions traded back. So it was, we can go through it. Casey got a 55 and 194. Lions got 63, 122, and 249. So decipher that how you do. Oh, there you go. Anthony showing up.
Yes.
Approves.
Okay, so after the Vikings was
Deontay Banks.
Giants.
Yeah,
Great pick, Deontay Banks.
Yeah, that just makes sense.
I really like that pick. They needed defensive back help. I mentioned that. I did end up going with, if I recall correctly, I think I went with the wide receiver there.
I think with 4 receivers off the board, that's the reason they went here.
100%. The run on receivers took them out of the race.
I went Quentin Johnston with our mock on Monday.
That's a good, and he was already gone. So I am very content with, premium position, nice investment, great prospect.
Curious to see what wide receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round ends up on the Giants.
Yeah.
Because he could instantly, after not too long, be their top wide receiver. And for fantasy purposes, that's something worth monitoring.
Yeah, because they still have Hodgins, Shepard, Slayton.
I think we got mixed up here.
Wandale.
Corner.
That's what we're saying. He's just saying in the future.
I'm saying by not taking a wide receiver, whatever wide receiver they end up getting.
I agree, Brian. But I just think those 4 guys, those 4 names, there's gonna be somebody there who's gonna have to step up. And my money's on Hodgins because he had such a great stretch last year. He has the nose for the end zone. That's just, you can't really debate that. But yeah, they definitely need somebody else.
We didn't mention this, but that 24th pick was originally the Jaguars. They traded back.
Oh, yeah.
With the Giants, and then traded back with the Bills. So they traded back twice in the 1st round. Pick 25, tight end Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. Kevin, obviously I'm going to tee this one up for you.
Thank you.
The grade was an A. This is one of our top grades.
Yep.
From Legit Football. Smooth route runner, excellent hands, can play out of the slot. Josh Allen needed another playmaker. Your thoughts, Mr. Buffalo Trill?
In a vacuum, nice. In a vacuum, can't be even remotely mad at the prospect or the fit. Okay, I think that Brandon Beane mentioned that the Bills have been kind of desperately searching for their Cole Beasley replacement. Isaiah McKenzie was thrown in there. They drafted Khalil Shakir last year. They tried and brought back the corpse of Cole Beasley. Nothing worked. They haven't had their slot guy. They haven't had their guy who can get open from the slot for a really long time. And I think Rashee Rice, he was connected to the Chiefs. We actually did a Legit Football headline on that. That's a good pick for them. You get a little worried about how redundant that is with their skill set that they have now, but we'll see.
Meaning, I would say this: he is a much more enticing receiving threat than Dawson Knox, and that is not a knock.
For
Knox.
Kincaid. I was talking about Rashee Rice. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still on Buffalo.
No, as far as Kincaid, if we're coming back to Buffalo,
I don't think it matters who's catching passes, and as long as Kelsey and Mahomes are there, it's just icing on the cake.
They've needed a slot replacement for a long time, and they haven't found it. And I think Kincaid is going to be a big slot type of player. Oh, here we go. Thank you for this one, Martini PK. That's my father. He was the thing that made him the happiest about the pick was how upset it made Skip Bayless. That made my dad.
They
really
jumped
happy.
Ahead of Dallas.
Correct, and everybody
to get
wanted
the top
Kincaid
tight end
for Dallas. I think he's a can't miss prospect. We had him going 13 in our mock. I'm not at all mad at 25. I'm not mad at giving up a 4th to move up 3 spots. I'm giving the pick a B+ because Nolan Smith was there. And I love Nolan Smith, and I thought that was the move up. And I think we talked about this a lot, Brian. If you're ever going to get a tight end in a later round, this is the draft to do it. But that being said, asset allocation aside, I'm super excited about Dalton Kincaid being a Buffalo Bill. I think he's going to be a force. And when Knox's contract is up, I think he might be tight end 1.
Yeah, I
like
agree
Knox
with
a lot.
everything that Kevin said.
Cool.
So I'm not going to add any additional context. Love the player, love the prospect, top tight end on a lot of people's boards. Great weapon, but man, did they need an edge rusher and somebody like Nolan Smith with that kind of ceiling. Yeah,
tough.
Any thoughts from Jimmy or Adrian before we move on?
I was just going to say, just thinking of him as a pass catcher. I mean, I think it's a solid pick. You guys needed another weapon, to add on for Josh Allen. So yeah, I do agree that like there's some other choices guys could have gone with, but I felt like that was a good need that was fulfilled. So congrats.
Yeah, I like the pick,
you.
and I think it stops. Not that Josh Allen has to do everything, but it gives him an extra weapon, and this segues into the next pick. I think they did the right to jump because I feel like the Cowboys were taking him. And if you saw their war room after, like they looked like holy.
I heard about that.
Yeah, like
they were not happy.
Yeah, no, they were not. That segues into the next pick of Marzi Smith. So they obviously went to defensive tackle.
So 0.5 sacks in 35 career games. Marzi Smith, not exactly known as being a pass rusher, more of kind of a dominant run stuffer. Here's something interesting. Apparently, Micah Parsons requested or told Dan Quinn that he wanted the Cowboys to draft Marzi Smith. So this could have been a reaction like, oh, crap, Dalton Kincaid just went off the board. Didn't see that coming. Micah said to pick Marzi. Let's go that way.
He's a special dude athletically. Like, I mean, big nose tackle, some people expected him to go a little higher. I understand, like, in the legit football, we put underwhelming pick, and I kind of agree. It might have been a bit of a panic pick, like you said. But he's still a good prospect, and he'll still hold. The Cowboys' defense kind of carries them at this point, and I think they're just making it stronger.
And they did. That was one of their biggest needs, was on the interior of the defensive line. So I don't hate the need. Good, solid pick. I just think, I don't know, not an exciting pick. We'll say that. A lot of people put Michael Mayer there. He actually ended up falling to the second round.
B is a good grade, maybe B minus.
All right, we got number 27, Anton Harrison, after trading back twice. And the Jags, by the way, just traded back up again with the Bears, or traded back. So the Jags just accumulating picks here.
Yeah.
Ended up selecting Anton Harrison, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Grade was a B. Only 1 sack allowed on 447 pass block snaps.
Fills a
Juwan
need.
Taylor, who is with Kansas City. Yes,
Cam
definitely
Robinson
fills
got
a need.
suspended.
Yep, Cam Robinson for PED use. So they very much needed an offensive tackle. Not a sexy pick, not exactly one of the blue chip tackles, but after trading back twice and getting one of the, first, second rate, I can't fault Jacksonville here.
And on top of that 1 sack, he only allowed 9 pressures. So, you put him in there, have someone to protect Lawrence.
Yeah.
All right, number 28, Miles Murphy. Clemson Tigers gets to stay with the same mascot, gets drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals at 28. There were some mocks that had him as high as like the top 12 to 15. So I like the value here. A lot of mocks, including my final one, had Jahmyr Gibbs here. He went at 12. Thank you, Brad Holmes and Detroit. So I can't argue with this pick. I actually, Legit Football had a B, but I would give it at least a B+. Murphy, like I said, a lot of people had him a lot higher.
Wouldn't have hated Mayer there.
Yes.
But, that's
I
fine.
would have hated Brian Branch there after losing
that's a good
Bates
point.
to Atlanta.
Yeah,
I
Jimmy
thought
had
they might
him
go safety
in the mock,
Yeah, they lost Von Bell too, didn't they?
They did.
Yes, they lost both of their starting safeties.
So that's I think I had.
They're
I did have them going there. Yeah.
In the needs, I had tight end listed as number 1. So I would have liked Michael Mayer because he was still on the board.
So disrespectful to
Irv
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah,
So.
we're all just hating on Irv Smith.
Come on, guys. Jimmy. Come on.
Number 29, Brian Bresee, 2 Clemson picks in a row, goes to the Saints. We kind of mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
love Bresee.
If he stays healthy, will be a steal. This was a guy who was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school, and it definitely had some issues staying healthy, but if he does stay healthy, fantastic pick for the Saints here. And who did they pick? They picked an edge rusher in the second rounds. So they addressing the defensive line. We kind of talked about this, so unless you guys have any hot takes, I'm going to keep it going.
A- for me.
Because the next one,
Isaiah Folksky was other.
we talked about Nolan Smith. Actually, we can keep going like that. Joe gave him a B+. I would give this an A, because if nothing else, the placement. A to A+, because they got him at 30. Nolan Smith. So then the final pick of the first round, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, nailed it. Defensive end out of Kansas State. So this is a guy who said he grew up a Chiefs fan went to school at 15 minutes from where the draft is held, gets to go play with the Kansas City Chiefs. They needed edge rusher. Pretty straightforward pick.
Yeah. Again, you said it. Not a sexy pick, but fine. Hopefully he's good. I mean, they always generate pass rush because of Spagnuolo. So
yeah, they lost a lot of pass rushers, I believe, in free agency with
no more Frank Clark, right?
They lost a lot. Yeah, I forget who I had him.
Second center is off the board. The New York Giants selected Minnesota center John Michael Schmitz.
John Michael Schmitz is really good. Oh, man, I would have wanted him there at 59. Okay, boys, I got to get rolling, but this was so fun. I'm so glad we were able to cover everything. If you guys stay covering until the Bills pick, I'm going to just go to – I'm not even going to turn on the draft. I'm just going to pull up my – you guys.
I'm going to hop off shortly. I mean, these guys are welcome to stay off as long as they want.
Thank you guys for everything.
I'll stay on for another 8-9
fantastic time today, and I can't wait to break it all down on Monday with you guys, all right?
Take it easy,
Peace out, guys.
See you, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Right. So everyone else has to go. I'm staying till round 7 over here.
Nice. I like it.
We're gonna see. He's just.
It's a weekend for him. It's Saturday morning.
That's true.
Adrian's like whatever. Just him and I'm just gonna let him and Anthony just go as long as they want.
Yeah.
And as long as the chatters will stay there, I'm in.
Yeah, I like. I mean, center not a huge need, but it's still a need, and they get a lot of people thought was the top center. Wisconsin center Tippmann was the other one. Getting him here, not a sexy pick, but well needed. Jonathan says Danny Dimes needs all the protection he can get. Have to agree with that.
That's very true. Very true. And just bringing it back to I know we've finished up on pick 31. I just think this was an awesome first round. Can I just say, like, a really, for the first year, I just sort of sat, it was Friday afternoon for me, but morning. And I just sort of sat on the couch. I had all my, like an old school report. I had just papers all over the place. I was taking notes furiously. And I just had a heap of fun with this first round.
Yeah, it was
Cowboys get their tight end. 100% agree, by the way. So the chaos, the unpredictability. I was like, I threw my mock away, literally starting at pick 2. The Cowboys get their tight end to replace Dalton Schultz. It is not Michael Mayer or Dalton Kincaid. It is tight end Luke I think it's Schumacher. I don't know how to pronounce it. Out of Michigan. I read a lot of interesting things about him. He's one of those. I mean, it's a deep tight end class. Do you guys have any thoughts on the placement here? I'll bring up his draft profile.
He's a speedy dude. I think they sort of talked about him being NFL ready. Didn't have as much production last year, but still a good prospect, and they needed a tight end desperately. I'm just looking at my board. Darnell Washington's still on the board, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is. Apparently, there's something came out about a knee injury, and maybe that is a little concerning. But you know what? I didn't realize this until recently. Darnell Washington's physical profile is very similar to Rob Gronkowski. From the speed profile to the size, Darnell Washington is slightly bigger, but it's not a big difference. Gronk was 6'6", Darnell's 6'7". I think Gronk was 258 and Darnell's like 265. They both ran very similar 40s, and they both had injury issues. Gronk even more so. One of his big concerns why he dropped to the second coming out of Arizona was that he had multiple injuries and missed a lot of games in college. We saw that in the NFL, but when he wasn't injured, he was absolutely dominant. Not saying Darnell Washington is going to be Rob Gronkowski, but he's somebody that's on my radar, and the fact that their profile is very similar. So I'm curious to see where it goes.
Shipmaker's still good. I probably had Tucker Kraft ahead of him, but I had Darnell Washington ahead of them both. So I understand the injury concern, but I just feel like he's such a unique prospect from a size perspective. I would have been going Washington, but it's still a good pick. They needed a tight end, so it feels the need there, and they obviously believe in the dude. So, B+.
I mean, it's a need, so yes.
Yeah.
And some people are like, "Oh, Ferguson." I wasn't sold on Ferguson or Hendershot. I figured they would address tight end early. Thought they would take him address him in the first round. So 76 next gen stats score, 85 athleticism, number 5 ranked tight end for athleticism, Shoemaker, from the NFL Combine, 4'6", 40 at 6'5", 251. So good size, decently fast. Vert 33.5. That's kind of in line with some of these other tight ends. 159, 10-yard split is decent. Yeah, seems to have a good athletic profile. You mentioned not a lot of production, but that could be the offense, right? So George Kittle had very little production in college at Iowa. Great blocker. So Darnell Washington, not a lot of production because he's behind what everybody's saying is going to be the top tight end next year in Brock Bowers. Doesn't mean he can't be a great prospect. So he's a little bit of a mystery. Don Mega said he's interested to know more about Shoemaker. I think we're all a little bit curious, like the profile, like the fit in that offense. He could be their tight end one relatively quickly if he has a good camp, if he blocks well. We don't know what we're getting. Sometimes that's the more fun.
Yeah, but that's what you get. I mean, look, the second round, you still get top prospects, but sometimes you got to take a risk. You're not going to get the blue chips in second round often. So excited for him. Look, I think if they had Dalton Kincaid, they would have been taking him at the time. But they lost it and then they ended up here. Grew up a Patriots fan.
Did we all buy into, myself included, the whole Michael Mayer, Jason Witten 2.0? I just thought that Jerry would take him, like, as he saw
I thought
the
so
reincarnation of Witten. The fact that they passed him and took Mozzie Smith and then end up, taking Shoemaker here, was that just another media smoke bomb that they really weren't as higher on Mayer?
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of the mocks and a lot of boards had Michael Mayer as the number one. So it might have just been smoke. Sometimes the media tends to drive narratives, i.e., Houston aren't taking
Levis was going to go number one, according to one random Redditor. By the way, those people, I don't feel sorry for them for losing all that money by betting on some dude on Reddit.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much time in between, like the end of the season, like in the combine and the draft. There's so much time to stir up all these rumors, and people just come up with stuff and find different ways to look at everything. So
I'll say this: shout out to the PDL. That's my number one dynasty league. I was on the PDL podcast recently, and we talked about the thing we hate about the draft the most, and we all unanimously agreed it is the time. Right? So the Super Bowl ends at the beginning of February. Yeah. The Combine is the end of February, early March. You could have the draft with just as much information by the end of March, and yet we're having it at the end of April. And most of the crap that comes out is in the month of April. Not that they'll change it, but man, it would be nice if the draft was at the end of March.
Yeah, just get all the private workouts and top 30 visits and stuff in.
So I don't know if Kevin is in the chat now that he's on his way to his work. But Osiris Torrance finally goes. What pick are we even at? Like 59?
60? 59, yeah,
59, because Shoemaker went 58. Torrance goes here. A lot of people had him in the first round. I think I had him in the first round of my final mock. So from that alone, seems like great value. Their offensive line definitely gave them trouble last year. They don't really have any just absolute studs on the offensive line. Yeah. I like this pick. To me, it seems like a great value.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he would go a lot sooner.
Martini PK, we know that you're a Bills fan, being the father of Mr. Phillip Fox. So feel free to let us know your thoughts on getting what a lot of people thought was the top interior offensive lineman, getting him this late in the second round for the Buffalo Bills.
59. I'm just looking at, so his PFF grade was 88. I mean, look, and as you said, people were expecting him to go sooner, so seems like a good move. I feel like Kevin would be happy with it. As far as like value for where you pick him.
Oh, here we go.
There it is. Yeah.
I knew he would be in there. Unreal pick.
Unreal.
I'm so happy. And his father should help the Bills running game. So the Bills fans in the chat. There you go. Kevin wants a linebacker. We know that he actually wanted Campbell in the first round.
Ever.
Wow, that didn't. He's easily pleased. Easily pleased. You need an edge rusher.
That 1 year.
You need an edge rusher too. I don't know how many edge rushers still like. Yaya Diaby, I mentioned him on one of our top needs as a nice third round edge rusher. So he's on my radar. I'm curious to see who out of Louisville.
Kevin's still bringing the positivity, man. I appreciate you.
Forever.
DJ Turner.
Totally.
DJ Turner was.
DJ Turner gone?
I think so Next Gen Stats, you probably saw this, Jimmy, put out something about the top 5 second rounders who could be steals based on their Next Gen Stat draft ranking. Ooh. DJ Turner was on that as one of the top 5 defensive back out of Michigan. So could be nice. Cincinnati definitely have, when Chidobe Awuzie went out last year, they definitely had issues in the secondary. So they need a corner, still need safety, but this could end up being one of those value picks we look back on for Cincinnati.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Tarek Stevenson gone?
Yes, he recently. Somebody traded up for him.
Someone traded up, yeah.
Yeah,
Jags?
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that sounds right. Scroll. Bears.
Okay.
Cool. Nice.
Close enough.
Close enough. Chicago, Jacksonville, different conferences.
That's fine. Yeah.
Close enough. They both have black in their uniform colors. There we
Yeah,
go.
there
There's
we
the
go.
connection
Thank you,
we were
thank
looking
you.
for.
There's always a connection.
There's always a connection. All right, I am going to ride out through the end of the second round, which is coming up. And then you guys are welcome to stay on as long as you want, as long as Anthony is willing to stick around, and Adrian on a nice, bright Saturday morning down under. All right.
Yeah, I'm sticking around.
Let's see.
So should we put predictions in?
Yeah, might as well.
So who just went? So Bengals just gone. Jacksonville's on the board.
Oh, yeah, I just realized this. Dallas took 2 Michigan players with their picks, Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker.
Oh yeah,
for round 1 and round 2. Apparently that gets the base. I don't know. Slapping the boss. All right, so who is up next? Well, I mean, is it the Bengals?
Jags,
Bengals just went. Jacksonville.
There's a bunch of Jacksonville's on the clock.
Yeah. Could you see Jacksonville taking a running back? I know they got 10 junior.
Nah.
No? Okay, no takers on that one?
Not this early. I think they could take some depth later. Still could use edge rushing help. Who's still on the board for edge rusher?
There is.
Anthony,
With that really long name from Northwestern. Adetono.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That was really bad.
Is he a D tackle? He's a D tackle, right?
I think he's a defensive end.
I saw you. I'm laughing at Kevin's in the chat. I didn't put it up, but yes, Paul Rudd reference. Slapping the boss.
All right, I'm just seeing who is left on edge.
Is there like a board that like auto updates? It'd be nice to see like who's available. Maybe.
All right, so the name
I have it
you
on
talked
ESPN.
about. Let's try this. Adetomiwa Adebawore. Did I get it right?
That's it.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
He's an interior defender, right? He's a defensive tackle, or is he edge?
Edge.
He is edge. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So 4.49 40-yard dash. Fastest ever for a player of 280 plus pounds. By 0.16 seconds. So very explosive. Yeah. Okay.
Britton Strange. I like Britton
Okay.
Strange. Tight end out of Penn State.
Wow.
Not the biggest tight end prospect, but he plays with a lot of passion. I actually saw some highlights for him. Plays much bigger than his size. Question about his blocking from a technique and strength standpoint, but he's a willing blocker. That's the difference. He tries to block. He just maybe needs a little bit more strength in the weight room, a little bit more technique. But he just plays with kind of an edge, which I kind of like. Nice. I kind of hoped he would have fallen maybe to the Dolphins in the 3rd round. Darnell Washington still on the board. Albert Breer just tweeted earlier. A lot of teams have concerns over his medical, so we mentioned that, and I think that's why we're seeing Washington drop.
Seems like a lot of that's a main reason for most people dropping at this point is the medical aspect that we don't necessarily see before the draft for whatever reason.
Yeah. Look, the only notes I had on Brenton Strange was just not a good blocker, but pass catching abilities there. So in a target heavy offense, and with a quarterback like Lawrence, that seems like a good pick. They needed a tight end. I like it.
Yeah, he partnered with Evan Ingram and see what happens.
Any prospects in general you guys are have an eye on? We want to see where they go.
Jalen Hyatt's still available. It's very
Jalen
interesting.
Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, wide receivers.
Ringo. I mean,
Hendon Hooker. That whole Tennessee offense, other than Darnell Wright, is still available.
DeJuan Jones.
Has Tank Dell gone? Tank Dell hasn't gone.
DeJuan Jones, offensive tackle.
That's interesting. From Ohio
still on
State.
the board. What was the one you mentioned, Adrian?
Yeah. Tank Dell? He hasn't gone off, has he?
Tank Dell has not gone. I don't think he'll go until at least the 3rd, maybe even the 4th.
Yeah.
But yes, Dell is on my radar for sure. Tajay Spears is on my radar.
The linebackers haven't really started to go, have they?
No.
Still
Simpson still available.
Drew Sanders.
It's just been Campbell.
Yeah. Wow. That's kind of insane to think about, too.
Is it just Campbell that's gone?
Yeah, for off-ball linebackers. Yep.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I mean, I've talked about him enough, but
I think
the one I'm watching.
We've seen like 6 tight ends go, 1 off-ball linebacker.
Yeah. And I'm just watching Darnell Washington, but yeah, he's not going this round. That's about it for me, I think.
Yeah.
We haven't seen many safeties go either, but I mean, they're typically not a premium pick.
Texans are on the clock. No,
we've seen 2
Texans just straight up. Yeah, they did.
Trade.
I don't know. I assume it was with the Eagles at 62. But I'm looking at it.
Eagles
like
would have been at 63,
things, so.
no?
No, that was the item is 62 on here on the NFL tracker.
I can't keep up with it.
I don't have a tracker, so you guys, I'm trusting. I just know that the Eagles were the second, the runner-up, so it would have been 63 out of 64.
I have my TV and then my Twitter notifications, and my TV's all the way down, backed up. It's very slow. Like Texans
says, my Texans. My
What's going on there?
Eagles traded out of 62. Armand bringing in the goods with the Texans. What do they need still?
Howie picking up more juice.
I mean, if I had to pick a GM, it would be Howie.
Have to be right now, right?
Yeah. I just trust in him.
Give him a Super Bowl, and he's up there.
Oh, he's got one, doesn't he?
He has one Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's got the famous Nick Foles.
The Nick Foles,
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
Good job, Anthony.
As long as he has been with them.
Yeah, hold music. Nice. I agree with you, Martini. I like the speed of round 2. It's kind of fast and furious, isn't it? Ooh, hot take by Kevin. Day 2 is better than day 1.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
See, Kevin is still here, even when he's not here.
Juice Scruggs.
Oh, okay, so he wasn't. Was he the GM that year?
Juice Scruggs, out of Penn State, center, 6'3", 301. Not the greatest total score as far as next gen stats. I mean, not that that's all that we go on here.
The Broncos just traded up.
The PFF grade is 71.5.
Has versatility to play center or guard.
Broncos are about to make the first pick, right?
You can move him around.
That would be. You're right. Their first pick was I think it was at 99, so they just traded up.
Why they traded up a decent amount?
The first pick of the Sean Payton Broncos era.
Woo! All the trades.
So last pick of the draft. Who's left on the board for
Oh yeah, I guess it would because there was no 31. That was the math I was doing correctly.
Kobe Turner? So I'm actually just muttering under my breath to myself.
Texans.
Ringo hasn't gone either. The Kayla Ringo, right?
Texans gave up the 188 and 230 to move up 3 spots. So what's that, like a 6th and 7th? Yeah.
Denver trades 63 lines straight out. Okay.
At least we got the chill hold music. I love it.
Yeah.
Kevin's bobbing his head right now listening to it.
He would be loving this. This is the one he was saying before, right? I'm not wrong in thinking that. This music?
This is what we did when we did the live mock between.
I love the live mock.
Yeah.
I love that.
Glad you got a chance to pop in the chat. Yeah, that was.
Well, awesome. I can jump on. It depends. It all depends on meetings in the morning, but I can definitely jump on and watch you guys. On a Tuesday, my day, Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It looked like good fun.
Denver gets 63 and 83 from Detroit for 68. So it was moved up 5 picks. Okay.
But how does the NFL.com tracker not be updated quicker than Armand? Armand, you're the GOAT, man. I'm just trying to. I'm gonna play the Kevin role and just talk about how awesome Armand is for a second. Delivering the goods.
Kevin says he's late for work and he doesn't care because of the music. The music makes it all better. All right, final pick of the second round. Let's see what it is.
No, yeah. Every stream I've got, and it could just be because I'm in Australia, but it's showing the Texans pick coming in, then not even on the last pick yet.
That's how mine is too. It's just slower. But that's just because I'm on an actual cable.
Yeah, no. Look, I mean, I'm using Game Pass, so it should be. So, all right. Well, then, while we're waiting,
it's still streaming.
What do they need? They need some line help. They could use the linebacker.
Yeah, they could use another edge rusher. Bradley Chubb was traded away. They could use another cornerback opposite Pat Surtain.
Sean Payton loves a nice dominant running back as well.
Do they want a rookie wide receiver if they could trade one of if Judy, if that's still a thing? Do they want a quarterback with Russell Wilson? Hendon Hooker?
Hendon Hooker.
That'd be crazy. There's no way.
That'd be a hilarious narrative to end this on, though.
That'd be the perfect.
You said they traded up from 99? Are you sure?
No, it wasn't. It was 68. They traded up 5 spots.
Oh,
it was the Niners. One of the teams they had the needs for was their first pick was 99. It was San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
San Francisco's first pick is 99.
Okay, so they swapped 183 and 138.
Yeah,
and moved up 5 spots. Interesting. Juice Scruggs.
Eagles picked up 188 and 230 to move from 62 to 65.
Because
just stockpiling.
No context.
Kevin says, please
It's
Hooker.
Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah. Will Hooker even go today at this point?
I'd be surprised. I think this could be like a Sam Howell 5th round situation.
Yeah.
Man, I'm tired of buying into all the hype. But you read it from everybody, right? Who do you believe? Who do you not believe?
Yeah. I think, and I mean, look, that's part of the pain of having it a bit later. There's just so many back and forth narratives.
Todd McShay, one of the quintessential draft, he's saying, be prepared for Hooker to go in the top 20. And he's talking to sources. So either the sources don't know, or the sources are lying, or McShay doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know. Gotta stop listening to him.
D, all of the above. It happens.
All part of the drama. Yeah, all part of the drama, right?
Marvin Mims.
Got a
wide receiver Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma.
Wow.
One of the speedsters, the deep threat. That's interesting.
Wide receiver, wow.
How's this? Average 19.5 yards per catch on his career.
Yeah, well, he is a home run hitter. He is a deep threat. Scored a lot of touchdowns, and his average is still that high, which shows he is a deep threat. Kind of the KJ Hamler type, but Hamler hasn't been able to stay healthy. Maybe he's going to fill that role.
Yeah. I like the pick Hamler.
All right, gentlemen, that does it for me. You are welcome to stay on as long as you want. I'll give a quick sign off.
I think we can wrap it up.
Let's
get it.
We've gone for over 2 hours. Thank you so much to everybody who stayed in the chat the whole time. Just some quick shout outs. Jonathan, Armand, Don Mega. Who else was in there?
Martini, Takeda.
Ryan. Yeah. So many people just hanging out the whole time. I know Phoenix Minch actually commented on YouTube. He couldn't comment, but he was watching Phoenix who comments on a lot of our short videos. Thank you to everybody who saw this. Just like the live mock, if you're listening only, you probably want to check out the YouTube because there's a lot of stuff that's not going to make sense to you. But hey, this goes out as an audio podcast as well. Thank you, Adrian, as always, for potting with us all the way from Australia on a Saturday morning. Jimmy, thank you so much for coming here. We had the whole crew together to live draft the second. Armand, our number 1 fan, staying on amazing stream tonight. Thanks for staying on for all of round 2. Absolutely.
Thank you, Armand.
Jets. Thanks to Kevin for being a trooper right up until he had to be late for work. We will wrap it up here. Thanks to Anthony Wayner behind the scenes. That's it, guys. Enjoy round 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 tomorrow. This has been the Legit Football NFL Podcast. Enjoy the rest of the draft.